Hey guys, Lon from the ECOM Zone, and today I'm going to show you guys how you can make millions with dropshipping, or whether you want to quit the rat race, whether you want to quit your job, make your own money, whether you just want to travel the world and do something online. I'm going to show you how to do that. Because over the past 5 years, I've generated over $5.6 million from my store. As you can see here, this is just a screenshot only, but you can find like refresh and stuff like that in my other videos. So I've only been running this one branded niche store since 2020, and it was my first ever store. The reason why I don't have a second store is because it takes a lot of work to manage a store. So just pretend it's like a baby. There's a lot of work to put in when caring for a baby, right? There's a lot of responsibilities. You have to put in a lot of work. There's sleepless nights, etc. Now just imagine two of them. So the workload does build up, and just spreading yourself too thin basically if you're going to run two stores. And that's why I always suggest you run one niche store at the beginning, and over time, if you dedicate tasks out, you can then set up a second store. So what we'll go through in this video is mindset, your requirements to start dropshipping, what actually matters now because 2025 is so different to 2020, biggest mistakes beginners make, choosing the right niche, finding your products, creating your brand, building your Shopify store, creating your social pages, creating your avatars, your Facebook ad strategy. And this is a big one because ever since the Andromeda update, everything has changed basically. All the old Facebook ads videos you've been watching on YouTube are pretty much outdated because of the Andromeda update. Also, we'll go through finances because that's a very important factor when running a business. Dropshipping isn't like an easy side hustle that you can set up. It's kind of like running a full-fledged business. All it is a fulfillment model. The actual business is e-commerce, and running an e-commerce business requires a lot of time, skill, and capital. So your mindset. You need the willingness to show up every day to test new products, test new creatives, test new angles, and also learn new skills. Just think about it, guys. Like, I don't know how old you are. Maybe you're 18, you're 20, you just graduated, or you just got fired from your job, or you're 30, you're 40. The thing is, you're gonna need to put in a lot of work to learn new skills. And when you don't have a boss to tell you to learn something, you're gonna need the discipline to learn it yourself and the willingness. A lot of people are just lazy. They think this is a get rich quick scheme, but it's not. And there's actually a lot of work required to run a successful business. So patience is also key. Most stores will fail because people just give up too early without pushing through and testing more. A lot of YouTube gurus tell you like, okay, just test 5 products a day, run up ads. If you spend $100 in ads, move on. Well, no, that's incorrect because you don't know the winning formula to create a good ad or write good ad copy or write good scripts. So if you don't know how to do these things, how would you know if it's the product's fault or if it's because of your own fault? And most of the time, it's probably because of your own fault. You created bad ads, your landing page just sucks, and the products you've chosen probably isn't that great. But to find out if your product isn't great, you need to optimize the first two, which is your creatives and your landing page. So that's why when people ask me like, oh, should I spend $200 and if I don't make any money, should I move on? Well, not really. It really depends on your metrics, how much time you spent on optimizing, how many creatives you tested, and just so many other factors involved. Moving on is discipline. You need the discipline to complete tasks that you don't want to do. Now, a lot of people, they can do tasks that they're happy to do. Like people like playing games, they'll be happy to play games. Now, if someone tells you to go wash dishes every day, you probably might not want to do that. That's why discipline is very important when you're your own boss. Like, I can't stress that enough. If you're very lazy or you're a laid back person or you're someone who just doesn't want to get stuff done because they don't want to do it, well, dropshipping or even entrepreneurship isn't for you because you don't have a boss to tell you, get up right now, you need to do this, or don't sleep today because you need to get this done. And if there's no one to tell you that and you're too lazy to figure that out yourself, then I wouldn't suggest dropshipping because you really need that mindset where you're just doing the work. You're showing up every day and you're putting in that 1% and maybe more. Because over time, it does add up And that's why it's very important you're disciplined. Getting rid of laziness and excuses by building good habits. Now, if you don't know how to build good habits, read the book Atomic Habits. You want to keep track of what you do every day, tick off what you've been doing, all your bad habits, all your good habits, write down what they are, and then see if you could eliminate the bad habits every day. And if you want to build good habits, what you can do is reward yourself when you do a good habit. So let's just say you want to do like 100 push-ups every day. Well, reward yourself after that. Now, you don't want to reward yourself with junk food after just doing 100 push-ups. That's not really rewarding yourself in a healthy manner. So definitely consider what your rewards are. And also, there's something called like a chain habit. So let's just say every day you want to fold your bed, you brush your teeth. What you're going to do is add another habit at the end of that. So you just do them all in one go and it's just completed. That's why a lot of people, they do gym in the morning, because it gets out of the way. The mindset is ready to conquer the day. Another good habit is, if you want to get rid of, like, let's say gaming habits, well, it also depends on your access to those games. Now, let's just say your computer was 2 hours away. You wouldn't want to play games because you have to walk 2 hours away. Now, if your computer was just like right by your desk where you wake up, you're just going to play games. It's just too easy to access. That's why some people uninstall games, get themselves banned or whatever. But honestly, it's very hard to do that. But yes, you should really uninstall those games so you don't have the urge to play them. And if you did, it takes too long to download the game. And once you've downloaded the game, hopefully your mindset is already like moved on from trying to play games. So that's like a quick summary of Atomic Habits, but you should read that book. Solving problems with a clear mind whenever issues arise without stressing about the problems. So for me, I don't really stress much. I don't see the benefit of stressing. Like, it's good to stress sometimes, but when you get stressed too often about especially when a problem arises, then how do you have like clarity to conquer your problems? You can't overcome your problems with a stressed mind. You need a clear mind. You need to prioritize what are the problems and which one's the easiest to fix, or which is a priority, and then you fix them one at a time. And that's why, for me, I don't get stressed much. And if you do feel stressed, what you need to do is just take a step back, write down all your problems, list them in order, and then tackle them one at a time. Think about the problem at the top of the list and then conquer them one at a time. I think this also depends on how you are as a person. I know a lot of people are not problem solving orientated, whereas I am. So there's couples where there's like the guy and the girl always complains to the guy about problems in her life, and all the guy does is offer her solutions. But most of the times the girl doesn't want solutions, they just want you to hear them out. And that's kind of me. I'm that person who just like jump, okay, do you want solutions? Okay, you don't want solutions? Okay, I'll just sit here to talk and listen. And it's actually a skill that you should build, because if you're a problem solving person like me, who loves solving problems, and you have a girlfriend who keeps coming to you with their own problems, they're not asking you or wanting you to solve their problems. Something you just need to learn over time. But yeah, I'm a problem solving person, whereas my fiance isn't. So it really depends on who you are as a person. Some people just don't like solving problems quickly. Some people like it like chilled, laid back, or some people just they just blow up when problems arises and they just don't know what to do. So I'm not too sure how to overcome that. Ever since a young age, I just know how to solve problems. So requirements with dropshipping, because not everyone can actually do dropshipping. The first thing you actually need is $1,000 in your bank account, plus a regular income stream to cover ad costs, payment holds, cost of goods, sampling, and more. I cannot stress this enough. I've spoken to too many people starting dropshipping and they don't even have $1,000 in their bank account, and they don't even have a full-time job or part-time job. All they're relying on is like $100, and they think they could get rich because some guru told them they could get rich with dropshipping. Now, dropshipping is so difficult these days and so competitive that you actually need money to run the business and become successful. Firstly, ad costs. You have to pay your ad costs up front. So you run $50, you have to pay $50. Even if you don't make sales, you still have to pay for it. So just think about it. If you're running ads $50 a day and you need to run them for 5 days, right? That means you spent $250 already. So that's $250. And let's just say you made 2 sales from that $250. They're $50 each. Yes, you made $100 back. But Shopify doesn't release the funds to you until a week later, guys. Let's just say today is the 21st of August and you make 2 sales today. You won't get that money until a week later. And the reason for this is because of these idiots back then, during COVID, they would basically use a dropshipping model. They'll run lots of ads, they'll sell a lot of units, but they won't send out the products. And they'll just keep all the money. So they literally have an infinite money glitch. They just run ads, make money, and then they just keep the money. As long as they're profitable and their sales covers the ad cost, they're profitable. But this is just annoying for the banks because they're releasing all these funds to these scammers, but the scammers aren't sending any products out. So when the customers open chargebacks against the banks already let the money go and they can't find this scammer. They just run off with the money. And so that's why, because of them, we have these long payment holds for Shopify and PayPal. PayPal, they can sometimes hold your money for up to like 3 weeks, 4 weeks. It really depends on when your product arrives. So do keep that in mind. Let's just say you keep running your ads and you keep generating 2 sales a day, right? The problem with this is that you're going to stack up on how much ads you're going to run, how much sales you're making, but you also need to send out those products. So there's cost of goods involved. So when you make a sale, let's just say it's 21st today, you should ideally be fulfilling your orders tonight. If I make a sale now, I'll fulfill the order later tonight at 10 p.m, let's just say. And so you don't have the money from Shopify because they're holding onto your money. And so you have to use your own money to cover that cost. We also have to talk about sampling. Sampling costs a lot because you need to test the product quality, test the packaging, test your suppliers, etc. And then also you need to send your products to influencers, UGC content creators, and so you have to pay for them and also pay for the product to get to them. So there's just a lot of money involved, and that's why you need $1,000 to start plus a regular income stream, ideally. So the second requirement, you need to work on your business for more than 2 hours a day if you're working full-time job, plus 8+ hours on the days you're not working. Now let's just say you're not working, you don't have a full-time job, you're just a student, you're studying, or you just graduate, you don't have a job. So you actually need to spend 8+ hours a day every single day. Like if you're not, I don't know what you're doing, right? Because this is a business. If you want to make a successful business, you're not going to build one by just spending an hour a day. And if you have 24 hours a day, what are you doing with the rest of your time? I just don't understand it. And that's why, for me, when I first started dropshipping, I was working a full-time job. So 9 to 6 p.m. I was working. I had to commute 1 hour. So usually I wake up like 7:30 a.m. I'll commute at 8 a.m., arrive at 9, and then work till 6. And then I'll commute back 1 hour. Then I'll go gym, have dinner. It'll be like 9 p.m. And then I'll work till like 1 a.m. So that's 4 hours a day. And then I wake up at 7:30. So it's about 6 hours sleep. And so I was doing that for like 8 months, I think. And that's when I quit my job during COVID. So it was a proper grind. Honestly, I didn't talk to friends. I didn't have time with my girlfriend. I didn't spend time with family. I made a lot of sacrifices back then. You just wouldn't know how much time I sacrificed. And if you're not sacrificing something, then you won't become successful. I'm not even joking. Because to become a successful entrepreneur, you need to sacrifice something. Now, the third requirement is eager to learn. So these skills is very important. Content creation, copywriting, digital design, and finance. Because if you don't have these skills, you're going to have to learn them. Now, if you do have these skills, then great. You're already ahead of a lot of dropshippers. Because a lot of dropshippers, they think it's an easy business to run, and so they enter it without having any of these skills. And so they're learning whilst also testing. But for you, you don't really need to learn if you already know how to create content, if you know how to write good copy, if you know how to design a good website. You don't need to pay people to make it for you. It's just very easy for you. And that's why for me, I graduated as a digital designer from university. And so dropshipping was very easy for me. I knew how to make a website. I knew how to create content. I knew how to create banners. And with finance as my background, because I studied finance, accounting, economics, business in A levels, I'm very fluent in like accounting. So for example, balance sheet, statement of financial position, tracking profit and loss, cash flow, etc. I know all of that because I studied accounting. But for someone who doesn't know about accounting, you should really be learning about accounting so that you could track your cash flow and you understand your business finances. Because at the end of the day, you're going to become a boss. Now, most bosses will know what their finances are for their company, because if they didn't, their accountant will just play them. And so that's why it's very important when you're first starting off, you study and you learn these skills. So what actually matters now in the dropshipping world, because everything's have actually changed. Creating contents that your audience actually wants to see on their social feed so you can stand out from the crowd. A lot of people are just so lazy and they think it's the products, but honestly, it could just be the content you're creating. A lot of people think it's the Facebook ad strategy or the structure of their campaign. Well, no, it's actually your creatives and your ad copy. And dropshipping is a very competitive business model. And so the only way for you to stand out is by creating a memorable brand with a powerful marketing strategy. There's brands out there with a really terrible website, but the marketing strategy is so good and the product is so unique that they make a killing. Now, if your website is really nice, but your marketing strategy just sucks, how are you going to get people to buy from you if you can't get people to even go into your page? And that's why it's important to focus on your creatives. You also want to find products that people will still purchase during an economy downturn, like problem-solving products. So for me, you can see on my chart for my sales, it's kind of declining over time because as we enter like a recession or economy downturn where people has less disposable income, they're not going to buy my products as much as they would buy a product where they actually need it. So for example, problem solving products, people need them to solve their problems. Maybe it's supplements because people need better health, or maybe it's like skin treatment because they need cream for their skin. Now, I'm not telling you guys to sell those products, but it's just something to keep in mind. You also want to find products that rich people want to buy because during an economy downturn, they'll still have money to buy your products. And that's why it's always catered to the rich because they will always spend money. And this point here is very important. You need to dive deep into your avatars and truly understand their desires so you can come up with better angles when you're running your ads. So important, because a lot of you guys skip this step. You think you can just create ad copy or ask AI to create ad copy for your products and then that's it, it's done. But you really need to actually understand your audience and understand, wait, why do they want to buy my product? Is it so they could look more confident? Is it so they could feel more confident? Or is it because they could feel healthier? Is it because they have a problem with their back? What is it? But even if a problem with their back, what is their true desire? Is it so they could carry their kids again? Because they're having a bad time with their back. They can't carry their kids. So is it that desire? Or is it so they could actually sleep better at night? Because their bad back is preventing them from sleeping at night. So the desire isn't really to fix the back. The desire is the things behind it. It's like the story. And that's what you need to really think about so that when you write your ad copy and your scripts for your videos, you have that in the back of your mind so that you can write better scripts and ad copy. Super important, guys. So the biggest mistakes beginners are making. So starting without enough money, so they have to pause down the line. I know a lot of you guys on Reddit actually do this. So you think you could start dropshipping with like $300. So you give it a go. Yeah, you've actually made some money. But the problem is Shopify doesn't release that money to you. So you've wasted all your capital on paying for ads that you can't actually ship your products out to your customers because Shopify is holding your money. So that's why you really need to start with $1,000 minimum with a regular income stream, because you don't want to pause your ads down the line, especially when you're making money. So another mistake beginners make is creating a one product store because most gurus tell you to. They think they'll hit it big the first week and make a killing, but honestly, those days are just gone. One product stores is just not a thing anymore. And to rely on one product is just insanity for me. Because over time, people will start selling that one product that you're selling, and it will just become so saturated that no matter what your ads are or how you're marketing the product, it's just too saturated. People will just buy it elsewhere, like Amazon, Walmart, bigger brands, for much cheaper. Another mistake is starting a general store and selling everything under the sun. So a lot of you guys ask, oh, should I start a general store and just sell anything? Just upload anything and wish for the best. But honestly, that's probably the second worst idea. The one product store's idea is probably the worst, and then the general store idea is second worst. The reason why general stores are bad is because you just look like another Amazon. So why would someone go to your store when they could just buy from Amazon? It just doesn't make sense. Another mistake is a lot of you guys think there's a get rich quick scheme, but in reality, it requires your time, your capital, and skill set. Without these three, it's very hard to succeed with dropshipping. Now, there are many different business models out there that is actually easier than dropshipping. For example, freelancing. It doesn't require any capital at all. It just requires your time and your skill, because you don't need to pay for anything. You just execute and you're building stuff out for your clients. Another business model is like creating YouTube content for AdSense. And there's just a bunch of different business models out there that doesn't require all three of these things: time, capital, and skill. Another business model is like selling digital products online. It doesn't require any capital because you don't need to buy anything and you don't need to run ads. All you're doing is building a personal brand and selling digital products. A lot of people do it now on Instagram and they make a killing, because 90% of that is profits. You don't need to pay for ads and you don't need to pay for cost of goods. And all you're doing with your digital products is marketing it on your social platforms organically, and people just buy them. So the profit margins are insane. And that's why selling digital products is also a very viable business model. Another mistake that beginners make is launching stores for winning products that they found on spy tools, and they think they can just copy and paste their competitors' ads and then make a killing off it. Unfortunately, that doesn't work, and whoever's telling you to do that is just lying. Like, that's not the way to run a business, and it's very unprofitable because those competitors are already winning in that space and they're already scaling up those products. So for you to just jump in with your like $1,000 in budget against this massive competitor with like a crazy amount of budgets, they got a massive content creation team, and you're just like against this behemoth, and you're just a little minion here. Like, honestly, it's impossible. Another mistake that beginners make is over-reliant on AI. Like, ChatGPT is so smart these days, but it doesn't mean you depend on it for everything. Especially if you depend on it and you don't actually check what it's writing or spitting back out for you. So like, a lot of people will probably just use it for scripts, ad copies, product descriptions, etc. But they don't read it. They just copy and paste and they call it a day and they think it's done. And this is what I mean by laziness. If you are doing that, it's so lazy, and you can't just depend on AI for everything, because if you read the text that AI gives you, one, it sounds like a robot, and two, it doesn't actually build like an emotional connection with your viewers. When they read your ad copy or they read your product descriptions, there's no emotional connection from that text. Another mistake that beginners make is poor store designs, terrible photos, and lack of creativity. All they're doing is just mass importing products from AliExpress, and they just use terrible photos. They don't edit the photos, they leave text on the photos, they leave logos on the photos, and they're just very lazy people. If you want to succeed, you need a proper store design, something that looks professional, looks branded, and it doesn't feel like a dropshipping store. Now, photos. If AliExpress suppliers don't give you good lifestyle images, then you need to source them yourself. Whether you send that product to yourself or to photographers, or you find it online, you need to do something, or even ask AI to generate photos of your product. You need to do something to improve your photos. And also lack of creativity. So what I mean by this is when it comes to your creatives. You just lack creativity to create videos or images that people want to see. So you need to become a more creative person so you can create better content. Another problem is spending money on spy tool apps when all you need is Facebook ads, library, and also AliExpress to find your products. The problem with spy tools is that all they know is just winning products that have already won before. They do not have data on products that are untapped and haven't been scaled to the moon. They just don't have data on it, so why would they recommend it? And so that's why I'd never use spy tools. Another mistake is choosing the wrong products. It's either too cheap, too saturated, or is already scaled to the moon and you're just trying to get a piece of that market, but that market is gone. Like those products, they've been scaled too much and it's time to move on from that product and you shouldn't sell it. Let those competitors sell that product and just don't touch it. Also, a lot of beginners do not focus enough of their time on content creation and copywriting. They always think it's their Facebook ad strategy or the structure, but it's all about your creatives and your copywriting skills. Like honestly, it's your creatives that matter, not your ad structure. So as long as you have good creatives, you should be able to make sales. Like if you really think about it, if your creatives are bad, how do you actually make money? You just can't. Even if you change the strategy around, you're testing CBOs, ABO campaigns, you're testing like 5 different interests. It don't matter if your creatives are bad. And it also doesn't matter if your ad copy is bad, right? So you do need to focus on those two things. Okay, so let's actually talk about choosing the right niche because this is the most important part, right? If you pick the wrong niche, then you'll struggle the entire time. But if you pick the right niche, it'll be much easier to become profitable. You want to avoid niches like the beauty niche. Now, the reason why I say this is because the CPMs is so freaking expensive. When you're running ads for the beauty niche, like you'll experience CPMs above $100. It's insane. Now, the reason why that's bad for you is because usually beauty products aren't even that expensive. Usually you're selling something for like $50, but your CPM's like $200. It just makes 0 sense. Now the next niche to avoid is baby. Now the reason why I avoid baby niche is because of credibility issues. Now just think about it. If you're a mum and dad with a kid, will you trust a random dropshipping website with your baby? Would you buy clothes from this website? Would you buy toys from this website when there's no credibility, there's not much trust badges, they don't have like the mum's award badge, etc. It just makes 0 sense. If I had a baby, I'm not going to buy from an online random website. Just know that. Another niche is the fitness niche. So the reason why I would avoid the fitness niche is because the products that release on AliExpress aren't great enough. Most of the time you'll find that on Amazon. That's the problem. Even if it's a new product, you'll find an alternative or similar product on Amazon. And that's why I would avoid the fitness niche unless you're starting your own clothing brand. But even then, it's super difficult to tap into. Next is seasonal items like Christmas, Valentine's Day, or like Halloween. Seasonal products I would not sell because you'll make money for like a small period of time and then that's it, it's the end. And the reason why it's also bad is because of shipping times. If you think about it, about Halloween, right? When do people actually start buying Halloween stuff for themselves? Usually within a week or two before. They don't buy it like a month before. It's just unheard of for me, in the UK especially. Like people don't really prepare for Halloween in the months in advance. And that's why Halloween products is bad because if you run ads, you have to run them 3 weeks in advance. Otherwise, your products won't arrive in time because of shipping times. Another niche that people like to go into is copyrighted items like anime products. Honestly, guys, you should be avoiding that because down the line you will be caught out and you may have to pay fines, you may have to shut down your store, etc. It's just no point getting into that mess. Also, Shopify has released a new feature where they're able to pick up on copyright items. Another niche I would avoid is electronics. The reason for this is because a lot of the electronic items from AliExpress, it's just poor quality and they'll break down over time. Now, let me tell you this. One of my subscribers, they ordered a hair straightener from AliExpress. They tested it. It was great quality. However, by like the 4th, 5th, 6th use, it started breaking down. And that's what I mean by quality issues with AliExpress electronic products. Most of the time, they will start showing wear and tear sooner rather than like a year's time. You want to find a niche that you have some sort of interest in. So for example, I tried to start a beauty niche store whilst running my main store, and it just didn't work. I just didn't have any interest in beauty products. I didn't know what like the makeup brushes were, their use, their names. You know, there's like 15 makeup brushes. I don't know what they're for. And so it just didn't make sense for me to continue with that store. Same goes for you. If you're a guy and you don't really know much about makeup, I wouldn't sell makeup related products. It just doesn't make sense. You also want to bookmark your competitors within a niche that you find, because that way you can see what they're selling and see how they're selling it. You can keep track of their videos, their creatives, their social pages, their ads, etc. You also want to pick a niche where there's products that are high demand and has products that sell for above $50. For example, you don't want to go into a niche where you're selling cheap products like $10 or $20. It's just too cheap when you're running Facebook ads and you'll struggle to become profitable. And that's why it's very, very important that you find products that are high in demand and then sell for over $50. So ideally, you want to be sourcing it for about $20 on AliExpress. Of course, the higher the better. If you can sell something for $80, great. That is really good. You also want to find something with a passionate community, because it's much easier to sell something to a passionate community than just like half the world. You want to find a niche where there's room for upsell or cross-selling your products. Let's just say you're starting a pet store, you could upsell and cross-sell multiple items for a new puppy, for example. Or maybe it's an old dog, maybe you sell items for an older dog. So you really need to think about your niche and what sort of products you can find within that niche. So you want to start brainstorming your niches on paper or Miro.com and start finding products that fit your niches. So eventually you'll have this massive spider diagram, and then you could drill down into each niche and figure out which niche you want to actually get into. So the first thing we're going to talk about is passion and interest. Now, if you don't have the slightest interest in the niche that you're going for, then do not pick it. For example, I tried to run a beauty niche for like cosmetic products, makeup brushes, and I had zero interest in that stuff. And you know what happened? After a month or two, we were breaking even, very difficult to profit because of how expensive that industry is. So at the end of the day, we just shut it down. I just had no interest in it. So you will burn out over time, especially if you struggle to become profitable. You will also struggle to come up with content because you just won't care about the product. For example, you need to reach out to micro-influencers in the beauty industry, send them the makeup, talk to them as if they're your best friend. Then you need to finalize your script that resonates with your audience, get the correct clips and all that stuff. And for me, I just did not care enough about the product to go through all of that hassle. There are thousands of products out there that you can sell profitably, so you don't need to pick a niche that you're just not interested in. You'll also understand your ideal audience better if you have interest or passion, simply because you are one of the ideal customers, and so you will understand what your needs are, your wants, your problems, solutions, etc. So let's actually dive into this section in a bit more detail. So, if you struggle to understand your ideal audience, you'll struggle to understand their problems they face and if these problems are even worth resolving. For example, you're trying to sell a problem-solving product for like the makeup niche. However, you don't know anything about this product. You don't know anything about your ideal audience, their problems, if they even want to solve that problem, etc. So you're really just throwing yourself into the deep end if you're choosing a niche that you just have no interest in. Another example, if you don't have kids or babies, I wouldn't run a store for babies. You just won't understand how a mum and dad thinks, where they buy from, who they trust, and trust is another big thing that I'm going to talk about later in this video. You really want to watch this video to the end so you have a full understanding of how to pick your niche. Same goes for a cat store. I wouldn't run a cat store if you never owned a cat. For the same reasons, because you don't have a cat, you won't understand cat parent problems and stuff like that. However, if you pick a niche where you are your ideal audience for your product and niche, you'll know how to sell your product better than someone who isn't their ideal audience. You'll also be able to relate to your ideal audience better just because you're part of them. You also understand the different phases of customer awareness that your ideal audience go through. And if you don't know what the different phases of the customer awareness journey is, do learn about it because it's very important when writing your copy. So the next point is market demand. You need to ask yourself, is there a real demand for your niche/products? And is there a gap in the market for you to capture? You want to check Google Trends to assess the popularity of your niche or the theme. So let's just say you want to go down the home decor niche. I wouldn't just upload everything in the home decor niche. I would choose a theme, for example, Scandinavian products, and see if that is trending on Google Trends. You want to choose a niche with a stable or increasing demand and avoid trends that are declining. And next up, we have competition. So find existing stores in your niche and identify ways to stand out from your competitors. Maybe that's a better brand, more product selection, better ad creatives, better customer experience. And there are so many other ways to stand out from your competitors. It's just all about thinking out of the box. In my case, when I started my branded niche store, there were many competitors out there. However, because of my skill set, I just knew that I would crush my competitors when I launched my brand. And so for me, I had better branding, I had a bigger product selection because I have over 2,000 products on my store now. Of course, when I started, I didn't have 2,000 products, but you get the point. I then also had better ad creatives and also better customer experience overall because I was a UX UI designer. So it's all about finding out how you can beat your competitors. So next up we have product selection, which is very important because it doesn't matter if you choose a niche. If there's no products for you to upload to your niche, then you can't run a store, right? So you need to ask yourself, are there multiple subcategories that you can include in your store? For example, in my course, I was launching a jewelry brand and there are so many subcategories that I can choose from, like necklaces, bracelets, earrings, rings, and then you've got the themes as well. You've got a boho theme, minimalist, etc. Next, you want to ask yourself, how many products can you add to your store? Then, are the chosen products saturated? So when people say, oh, is this niche saturated? That's actually incorrect. It's actually the product that are saturated. For example, if you want to go into the fitness niche, the fitness niche isn't really saturated. It's the products that you find on AliExpress are saturated, which makes the fitness niche saturated. However, if you launch a fitness niche and you're doing print-on-demand dropshipping, where you got your own printed designs, your own artwork on vests, tees, hoodies, then your products aren't saturated and therefore your niche isn't saturated. And if you do find products that are saturated, you want to ask yourself, how saturated are they? And to answer this, you simply go on Amazon and see how many suppliers are selling that same product. If there's tons and tons of suppliers selling a similar or the same product as the one you want to upload to your store, then I'll probably avoid advertising it. Now you can still upload it to your store, but I just won't advertise it because it's just simply too saturated. Next, you want to ask yourself, are the products you choose either wow factor or problem solving products? For me, I prefer to upload products that have a wow factor instead of problem solving products because wow factor products tend to be easier to market. You also want to ask yourself about the perceived value of the products you find. For example, if you're going to upload cat toys, the perceived value is very low and you struggle to be profitable. However, if you upload like jewelry, for example, the perceived value of jewelry is much higher, so the markup can be even like 4x, 5x, 6x. And then you want to ask yourself the average order value of your products. And I always repeat this, so you really want to aim for an average order value of around $50, especially if you're going to advertise those products. Now you can add cat toys to your website if you're selling cat products. However, I wouldn't advertise them because they're simply too cheap to become profitable. So aim for $50 average order value. And you also want to ask yourself, can you find these products down the road, like at their local Walmart or their local shops? And if you can find these products down the road, then it's going to be difficult to advertise and make money from them. And then you want to ask yourself, are there any alternative products out there for your products? If there are, then you may struggle to sell that product. For example, if you're selling like a handless dog leash and you type in Amazon dog leashes, you're going to find thousands of products for dog leashes that either handheld or handless. So I wouldn't really advertise that product because everyone is selling an alternative product or the same product. You then want to consider selling untapped products in your niche. So you want to ask yourself, how often do suppliers add new products in your niche? For example, the fitness niche is very saturated because suppliers on AliExpress rarely add new products into the fitness niche. I think the last winning product for the fitness niche was that push-up board that people are trying to recover again, but it's so saturated and there hasn't really been any new products for the fitness niche, and that's why I don't really recommend that niche. However, if you want to go down the print-on-demand dropshipping route for the fitness niche, then that makes sense. So another example is the jewelry niche. If you go on AliExpress, they upload so many new products in the jewelry niche, I can barely keep up with it. And this is a good sign that this niche is very hard to become saturated because of how many new products are being uploaded. So if you're lucky enough to find an untapped product on AliExpress within a jewelry niche and you're the first one to market it, then you can scale it to the moon and not have many competitors selling the same product as you. Next, we want to talk about repeat business. You want to focus on niches where customers want to come back and buy from you again and again and again. And I have so many customers who placed like 10 plus orders from my website over the past 4 years. It's insane. So you really want to build a website where they feel like they're shopping from a brand and they're buying into that lifestyle. You want to ask yourself, will customers want to come back and buy more from you? And this is why I avoid one product stores and I never recommend it, because the likelihood of your customers coming back for more products is very low, because why would they come back to your store and buy that same product again? You also want to ask yourself, can you add more products to your store to increase customer lifetime value and your average order value? And if you can, then that is a great niche to be in. Can you possibly offer subscription models? For example, every month you send them a product. So you just want to consider these points. The next point is credibility and trust, which is a very big thing when considering what niche you want to go down. So you want to ask yourself how much credibility is required for the niche that you pick. For example, a skincare product or a niche store will require a lot of credibility. Just imagine you're selling a skincare product for the face. Why would a customer ever trust your website selling a skincare product that there are thousands, if not millions of alternative products out there? So you need to ask yourself that. And how would you build that credibility and trust? So another example is baby products. Will parents trust a random store online without credibility or trust badges or the mum awards? And this is why I would never go into the baby niche. So yeah, you want to ask yourself, how can you build trust? Would you need to lie to your customers with fake reviews? And do your products need your brand or logo on the packaging or product to build trust? For example, skincare products, do you need to put your logo on the bottle to build more credibility and trust? So these are everything you need to consider when choosing a niche. And then the content creation side. Do you need to recreate product photos for consistency in your brand? Do you need to send your products to content creators or micro-influencers or photographers for photos? So you need to consider this. For example, if you want to sell clothes, would you need to hire models and photographers? And who will edit all your photos and make them look consistent? You want to consider the time required and cost of sourcing all this content. If you choose problem-solving products, it will require you to create videos for your ad creatives and your website, and that does not come cheap. Or you can advertise simple products like wow factor products with just images and carousels. So you don't really go through that whole process to create a winning video. Because creating a really good video requires a lot of steps that people miss out when they're starting off. Even creating video creators for fashion or jewelry niche is easier than creating videos for products that solves problems. You just need to wave the jewelry around, get someone to wear the jewelry, put it on, take it out of the bag. It's very simple. So the last point is seasonal niches. Personally, I would avoid opening a store for certain events like Halloween or Christmas. They only come once in a year and you can't build a sustainable business out of them. Instead, you want to start a niche store and add these seasonal products to your store. For example, if you sell home decor products, you can have a section for Halloween products,
are basically Halloween decorations for the home. And usually, beginners are too slow to launch for these events. They're also very difficult to scale now due to payment holds. And payment holds has become a nightmare for beginners because you simply can't scale your store up. Just like all these YouTubers telling you like, oh, you can scale to like 100k a month. You really can't because of these payment holds. If you scale too fast, PayPal or Shopify payments will think, is this guy trying to scam their customers or what? Where they don't send the products out. So then that's why they hold your funds until your products arrives, and then they'll release the funds to you. And just imagine if you scale your store up to like 2k a day even, or 5k a day, and those funds are being held, how are you going to fulfill your orders? How are you going to pay for your ads? And that's why I don't like seasonal niches or you guys scaling too fast, because you'll get yourself into these sticky situations where your payment providers are holding your funds. You also face disappointed customers if the products arrive too late. As a beginner, you just won't know when to cut off your ads. Ideally, you want to cut off your ads 2 to 3 weeks before the event starts. For example, Christmas is on 24th, 25th, so I would start cutting off ads around the 12th. That's like 12 or 13 days before the event. The reason for this is because your products may not arrive in time for Christmas, and you don't want upset customers.
So once you find your niches, it's time to find your products on AliExpress. Now a lot of gurus, they do recommend you use spy tools, but honestly, one, they're expensive, and two, I do not recommend them because you can find winning products elsewhere. So you can find your products that are selling within your niche on Facebook Ads Library and AliExpress. Facebook Ad Library, let's go to all ads, and let's just say you want to sell necklaces or jewelry. Type in necklace, and then you'll see this. Then change the filters to English only, platforms to Facebook and Instagram, and then change the active impressions that they do last month. So today's 21st, so last month 21st. There we go, and apply for filters. This way you're going to see active ads that are still running today that were from July 21st and previous. So we go down here. Those ads are kind of irrelevant, I believe. I mean, let's see. Yeah, I'm not too sure about that one still. So these ones are carousel ads that they've been running still. So this here is only a 3-image carousel. This one, 4, 5, 6. So they're testing different lengths of carousels. This could actually be a flex ad because I do know that Facebook just kind of does their own testing sometimes. Go down further. What's this one here? So this is like a UGC creator talking about the necklaces. Honestly, so easy to get. Just literally reach out to micro influencers on Instagram and TikTok. Hopefully they don't charge you any money. You just send them products for videos. And then if you want, you can offer them a discount code. And if they make any sales with that discount code, you basically just give them a commission. So what you want to do is just keep going down all these ads, watch these videos, look at what they're selling, because these people are still making money from these ads, which means they're profitable, is a good product, and you even have the creative in front of you. Next, what you want to do is go on AliExpress and just type in necklace and see what there is. So let's just type in necklace and we get a mix of men's and women. So if you want to sell women's jewelry, then you can just like filter that down. And also another good way to filter this is changing the price to like, let's say £4. That way you don't see like cheap products, you're only seeing like products above £4. And that way when you mark them up, you can mark them up a bit more expensive. Would you be able to sell your products for $50? That's the most important thing. The reason being is if you're selling something for $30, when you're running your Facebook ads and your break-even cost per acquisition is like $20, it's going to be very difficult for you to scale because there's not much room to scale. Now let's just say you're selling a product for $70 and your cost per acquisition is $20. That's a massive margin, right? You still have $50 playing room. Of course there's cost of products, but you get what I mean. You should also ask yourself, would you be able to profit $20 or more from your products? So let's just say you're selling something for like $40, but your margin is only $15. Well, that doesn't work, right? Because it's less than 20. If you're selling something for $100 and your margin's only $20, well, that doesn't work as well because it's just too little. So you do need good margins and also a high perceived value product, which is my next point. High perceived value products like jewelry, they're high perceived value products. People think they're expensive, but you could actually buy them for cheap on AliExpress. Like when I went into Japan 2 months ago, this jewelry store was selling stuff from AliExpress for 10x the price. That's just ridiculous. 10x the price, guys. So they were selling something for $50 when you could get it for $5 on AliExpress. Insanity. You also want to ask yourself, is it an existing winning product or is it an untapped product? Usually a winning product has thousands of sales on AliExpress, or they're being sold on Amazon, or they're being sold by your competitors. But untapped products are products that are just recently uploaded by suppliers and are just new to the market and people don't really know about them. You also want to target the rich or people who will spend on your products even if there was a recession. Because when there's a recession, you still need to make money, right? And so that's why you want to target the rich people or sell problem-solving products or sell products that people still need to buy. And this next point is super important. You need to ask yourself when you're picking your products, does your product make you want to go, wow, I really need to buy that right now? An easy way to do that, if you're not the target audience for your products, you should go out and ask people, like, if you see this product, would you want to buy that right now? If their reaction is like, not really, then you know it's not a great product. Of course, you don't want to just test on one person. You do want to test like on a variety of people so that you get like reliable data. Can you also come up with angles to market your products? So remember to keep that in the back of your head when you're finding products. So when you like find a necklace, ask yourself like, okay, how can I sell this product? What sort of angles can I tackle? So there's these products here, and this is what I mean by a winning product here. This one has 3,000 plus sold, guys. Someone is already selling this like crazy. And so you can sell it, but don't expect too much money from this because it's already being killed or scaled to the moon. And so you just want to keep going down. There's 2,000 plus sold, there's 70 sold here, 81, etc. So there's plenty of products here that you can investigate into. So let's actually dive deeper into AliExpress because there's a supply that's pure choice, choice, and normal. So basically, AliExpress introduced this choice service to AliExpress like 2 years ago, and it's basically a faster and more efficient way to send products out. So there's pure choice, which I've created myself. The pure choice isn't something that AliExpress created. I just call them pure choice suppliers. In the middle, there's choice, and on the right here, there's just normal suppliers. So like this supplier here, I believe is a normal supplier because they don't have that choice logo. So we click in, yep, they don't have this choice logo, right? So if you click into their store here, sold by Hey DMA store, it should be a normal store. And as you can see, it is a normal store. To recognize a normal looking store, the banner at the top is black. They have their shop name here, open since 2021, that's great. They have their 94.9 positive review, so that's the total reviews for their store. They have their follow account, and you just click follow or contact now. However, there's some stores where it's like in the middle of choice and a pure choice and normal, and they're called choice stores. So I think this one might be a good example. So this one's called D-Clan Official. They have a choice AliExpress commitment. It just means they're using the AliExpress like shipping lines for faster shipping. So if we click here, you can see this is also a good store to work with. D-Clan, open since 2021, 97% positive reviews. You want to find suppliers that are above 90% with positive reviews here and they have a decent following count. But bear in mind, this can be faked, so you don't need to worry too much about the follower count. You also should really check their products. So just click on their products, and you can see they have 198 items on their store. And then we sort by orders. Let's see what they sold most of. So these products here. So not a bad store because they do specialize in jewelry, so you can upload it. However, the images are very inconsistent. So when you upload it to your store will also look very inconsistent too. So let me try and find a pure choice supplier. this one might be a pure choice supplier. Is it a pure choice? Let's see. Yes, it is. Instantly, you can spot it's a pure choice supplier because 1, no contact now button, 2, no follow account, 3, there's no positive reviews, and 4, it just has the name. Like, you can actually see the difference, right? This is a good supplier. This is not a good supplier to work with. However, this supplier here is a no. Do not work with these suppliers. And the reason why is because you can't actually contact them. Like if you go down here and you message them, it's going to bring you to this yellow message screen that you want to avoid. So avoid these suppliers, guys. Yellow screen like this, you're basically talking to an AliExpress agent and you're not talking to the suppliers directly. Now, a lot of people ask me like, okay, what's the benefits? Well, 1, you could build your relationship with your suppliers if you can actually talk to them. 2, if there's a problem arises, you could talk to your suppliers directly and ask them first, like, should I open a dispute? Do I return this to you, etc. So you could talk to them about problems. 3, you can ask the suppliers for the best selling products or new products that they've added to their store. Now with this screen here and this supplier here, you cannot message them about any of these things because this is just an AliExpress agent. So very important, guys, avoid these pure choice stores. So there's a difference between pure choice and choice. This is a pure choice store where when you message them, it brings you to a yellow message screen. And this store here, Hey DMA, this is a choice store because they offer choice service, but they're not a pure choice store. Very important to keep that in mind, guys. I do have other videos about like all of this. So if you do get confused, you can just check out those other videos. So that's how you find your products. Now, what I usually suggest you do is find up to like 5 to 10 suppliers. Don't just rely on one supplier because if their products goes out of stock, you have another supplier to back you up. And also, you could expand your collection on your website with multiple suppliers.
Next, I want to talk about saturation. There's no point finding a popular niche and finding saturated products that are sold all over Amazon and compared to stores. So I see a lot of you guys trying to find winning products that are so saturated, everyone's been selling them or they've been oversold like in the past, and you're just trying to sell it. Now, you need to throw that idea out the window because that's not going to get you to profitability. You'll face too much competition and consumers will buy elsewhere. People are not dumb anymore. Let's just say you're selling the flame diffuser because it was successful in the past. People will just go on Amazon and search flame diffuser. It's as simple as that, and you'll be wasting money on ad spend. People will go to your store, they'll add to cart, but then they'll look elsewhere. That's usually the buyer and consumer journey. You want to try and find products that are untapped and have the potential to become winners. Avoid trying to find these so-called winning products that every guru is talking about, or product hunting tools to find those winning products for you. And if there are too many suppliers on Amazon selling the same product, let's just say 10 plus Amazon sellers are selling that same product or an alternative product, then I would avoid running ads for that product that you want to upload to your store. However, you can still list it to your store just for organic sales or just in case someone does buy it. So you need to find a balance of finding a trending niche but unsaturated products to go into your store. For example, you go into a jewelry niche, but you want to find untapped products that haven't been oversold, like necklaces that you've never seen before and you think would do well. Yep, that's another example. And there are plenty of products out there that are untapped and newly added to stores on AliExpress. Guys, warehouses in China are constantly making products and pumping them out on AliExpress. If you don't spend like an hour on AliExpress a day, you're not looking at enough products when you're starting off. You need to spend time just browsing through AliExpress and Facebook ad library and just exposing yourself to all the products out there. Because I'm telling you, there's millions of products out there, especially untapped ones. So your goal is to find these products and be the first to scale them up. So other factors that affect a winning product. So, wow factor. Will it make your viewers drop their jaw when they see your products? Like, I actually mean that. When they see your product page, will they go, oh my God, I need to buy this now? If they're not saying that, or you're not imagining them saying that, then it's probably not a good product to sell if you're trying to sell a wow factor product. Now, if you're trying to sell a problem solving factor product, does it solve a real pain point, and are people looking for a solution for it? Because sometimes people have problems, but they're not looking for a solution for it. And problem solving products are much difficult to sell because you need to learn a lot about content creation and copywriting and actually knowing how to sell that product, understanding your users' pain points, etc. Is it hard to find locally? If it's sold in local stores, there's no urgency to buy from your store. So if the product in the US is all over the place like locally, then I wouldn't sell it there. However, let's just say in a different market like Germany, it's not in their local stores, then there's a possibility that you sell to the German market. Strong visual appeal. Can it stop viewers scrolling on social media, or is it just a boring, bland product? Emotional trigger. Products that make people feel cute, confident, safe, smart, or in a community sell a lot better than products that don't trigger any emotion.
So creating your brand, very important, guys. Without branding, you're nothing. Apple isn't in their place right now because they just built phones. It's because of their branding. Everyone buys Apple, well, half the world buys Apples because it's like a lifestyle choice. They're buying into that brand. They got all their Apple products. They got Apple Watch, Apple Mac, iPad, Apple TV. I don't know what it is. I don't have Apple myself, but yeah, you're basically buying into that brand, and that's why you need to create your brand. So first, create your logo on Canva for free and export it as PNG or transparent background. This is, of course, you have to have confirmed your niche and found your products, so you know what brand you're going to create. You want to choose an easy name that rolls off the tongue. Now, if you're stuck with names, just ask ChatGPT or just go around, look at your competitors, see what they're naming their brands, and then try to create your own. Make sure your domain is also available as .com. If you're choosing a brand like necklaces.com, of course that's not going to be available, and so you don't pick that name. That's just an example, right? So if you pick a name that's not available as .com, you can change the name or you add something to the .com or domain. So let's just say is, I don't know, apple.com, right? But it's taken. So you could maybe change it to appleshop.com or weareapple.com or shopapple.com. I don't know what it is, but you get creative with it. You want to stick to neutral colors when you're branding your website and your logo. Now, let's just say you're starting a jewelry store. What you want to do is look at your competitors and see what colors they're using. You don't want to just pick like bright green colors or bright yellow colors because you like it. No, 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 no. You're creating a brand that your customers are eventually going to like. Not that you like, but your customers are going to eventually like. So stick to neutral colors. If you're creating a brand for like women's and it's a necklace brand, stick to black, stick to rose pink, stick to like neutral colors. Maybe it's a tan color, etc. Use commonly used fonts as well. Do not go out your way and choose some wacky random font on like Canva and you go, oh yeah, this is really nice, then we could use it. Honestly, you don't need to do that. Just go on Google, commonly used fonts for jewelry women's niche, and they'll give you commonly used fonts. And then what you're going to do is use those fonts. It's as simple as that. No thinking involved. You don't need to scroll around looking for fonts. It's just all there for you guys. And if you're ever stuck or you have a question, leave a comment in the section below or just ask ChatGPT. Like, honestly, ChatGPT is a lifesaver now. Like, if you're not using it, then you should really be using it. You also want to stick to a simple logo with thick black font that looks good on mobile, guys. Remember, most of your customers will come from mobile because when you're running Facebook ads, they'll be coming from Instagram and Facebook. And most of the time, it'll be on their mobile. And so when they navigate to your store, you need to make sure your logo is clear at the top of your website on a mobile screen, guys. I don't want you guys to create like some really fancy logo. You spend hours on it only for it to look like nothing on a mobile screen. So that's why if you look at other websites On mobile, it's just usually a thick black font or just a simple logo if they're a memorable brand. So I think Apple.com, they use the Apple logo because everyone knows it's the Apple logo. That's why they don't use Apple as the text. You want to also create a favicon / small logo using Canva. Something not too flashy or wacky, just something simple, guys. You don't need to go like too extravagant with this. You choose the right colors by looking at your competitors and using coolers.co. So let me show you coolers.co. So this here is coolers.co. Start the generator. Super easy website. You literally just hit the space bar, and look, I'm just hitting the space bar and it's generating the colors. Now let's just say you like, I don't know, let's see, like this color here, right? Champagne pink. You'll press this lock icon and you continue pressing the space bar. And then maybe it's this green. That's really nice. That makes your brand look very, very prestigious. Purple is nice. This is quite a nice green. Maybe need some neutral colors now. But of course, it won't actually always give you neutral colors. That's why sometimes you just need to stick to these three as your primary and secondary colors. And then there's like gray or black as your other colors. So for example, maybe this one here. Oh, well, that's dark purple. And then this one here. So here's your color palette, very neutral. Of course, this is like a 5-second job, but you want to spend a bit more time than just a 5-second job on choosing your colors. And of course, put those colors onto your logo and see if it looks good.
So we're just going to use Canva because it's free and everyone can use it. So Canva actually has a facelift and is totally new now. But we're just going to create a design. We want a logo, 500 by 500, sure. And then we also want to see that website again. So we want a typography that's similar to this. So text, Chloe Monroe actually. So we need a font. No, we want, what is it? It's a serif font. Serif fonts have flicks on it. And you can see they actually have a little flick on the top as well. So DM serif display isn't actually too bad. Okay, so we're not too sure. So we're just going to click that one. So we're also going to go on Google and ask for commonly used fonts for branding. This is literally how I do it, guys. Google has answers to everything. I mean, actually, I want a blog or something. The 25 best serif fonts for branding to consider. And basically, guys, you just want to go through and choose a font. But for this video, we're just going to stick with this one because it actually looks pretty decent. And if you want to design a logo with it as well, you can. However, for your website, you really don't need to go too fancy with it. I would actually just leave it as Chloe Monroe because, as you can see here, it's just their text. So we're actually just going to leave the logo and we're just going to use the text itself. Now the problem with this is that there's too much white space on the top and bottom. So we need to actually create a new design. To get rid of those white spaces, we actually need to create a new design with a custom size of like maybe 700 pixel width and 250 height maybe. Let's see this. Oh, that's actually perfect. And then just copy and paste the text in, make it larger. And then copy this and make a white version just in case we need a white version. And then share, download, and that will be downloaded. So the fav icon here is the icon you see, this little small icon you see at the top next to each website name. So we're just going to actually create that as well on Canva quickly. Shouldn't take too long. If I just go back to the home page, we just need this one. Duplicate page. and just use the C and M. Literally, guys, that could be your fav icon. Like, it really doesn't need to be fancy at all. What we can do is have a shape in the back, so maybe like a circle. We can do our soft pink color here. Hello. Okay, there we go. CM. Reduce the spacing on that. Perfect. And now download this. Download page 2 only. Done. Download.
So next up is building your Shopify store, because now we have our niche, our products, our branding. It's time to actually build our store. You want to sign up to Shopify with the best offer in the market right now. Now, depending on when you see this video, this offer might change. Now, at the time I'm filming this video, if you click this link, you could get Shopify for the first 3 months for only £3, because it's £1 a month. That is so cheap, guys. That means your first 3 months of running Shopify or your store is only going to be £3. So cheap. So definitely sign up to that. And also, I only really make money from my affiliate links if you guys make money from your store. And that's why I like making these videos, because I want you guys to make money. And if you want to support the channel and give something back in return, because I don't have paid courses, feel free to use my affiliate links. You can find them here or also in my captions for these YouTube videos. Next, you want to install the app DSs. So the second you sign up to Shopify, install the app DSs. All you're going to do on the Shopify search bar, search DSs, install it. And DSs is basically an app where it automates your fulfillment process and it helps you import your products to your store. So you want to import your products from AliExpress via DSs. I don't want you to go on Shopify and add products into there from AliExpress. That's not how it works. Because if you do that, DSs won't pick up those orders when it makes a sale for those products. They'll only pick up orders when the product is imported via their system. So make sure to import your products via DSs. You could either use the Dawn theme or the Horizon theme. So recently, Shopify actually moved into the Horizon theme. Now, for the past decade or so, or maybe like past 5 years or 8 years, Shopify has been focusing most of the time on the Dawn theme. However, they are moving on to the Horizon theme now. It's a free theme, and I suggest you use the Horizon theme. And guys, you don't really need to get fancy with how you structure your website. It is the content that makes your website look professional and branded. So yeah, make sure your content looks professional and looks consistent with each other. The lighting is good, so that you can create this branded experience that your customers want to come back to. You want to start building out your homepage and your product pages. Honestly, I wouldn't really start with the homepage because you don't have products. So start off with your product pages, build out your products, import your products, and complete each product page when you import your products. I don't want you to install DSs and then import 50 products to your Shopify store and then start working on them, because that's a very tedious task and you'll probably find it super boring working on 50 product pages at once. So just do one product at a time, import to your store, complete the product page, move on to the next product. So let's head over to DSs, and the first thing you're going to do is go over to import lists. So our import list is empty right now, and this is the page that you're going to be on pretty much every day. Import list and my products. So these two on the left here. So we're going to go on AliExpress and find ourselves a product. So this one here is a gold necklace with a heart on it. Now you can see it's only got 4 sold. So it's an untapped product. There's not many people selling it. Well, this supplier doesn't really have that many sales. Now let's head over to the supplier store by just clicking on that. And we can see they have this black banner at the top with their profile here. So they've been open since 2012, which is really good. 95% positive reviews, brilliant. Anything above 90% you want to work with, anything below you kind of want to avoid. Then 66k followers, that's a lot. And then I'll just click follow now and then contact. So if we go over their products, you can see this supplier has 1,000 items specifically in a jewelry niche. So this supplier here is great. If I wanted to sell jewelry, then this is a possibility, right? And their product images looks really nice and consistent. So that when you build your website and you use their products and their product images, your website looks consistent. It's very important to create that branded look and feel when you're importing products to your store. So there's plenty of products that we can import to our store. And if you don't have this orange button add to DS's, then you need to install the DS's Chrome extension app. So literally just go on Google, DS's Chrome extension app, and it will pop up. You just install it and you can just add these to your store. I need to refresh DS's and it's probably because I need to log back in. Oh, no. Let's see. Add to DS's. Confirm. Importing. Perfect. And so you could just keep adding them in. Not too sure about that one. This one's okay. This one's nice. Custom Arabic name. Yeah. Cool. Earrings and rings are kind of low value items. We do want to look for more expensive items. Maybe these here. This one here. Usually necklaces people pay more for, and bracelets. And this one here. The funny thing is, when I was in Japan and I was going through like jewelry stores in Harajuku, they were selling the exact same products I could find here for like 10x the price. It's insane. So you can actually mark these products up by 10x and get away with it. Like something like this, where it's only $1.56, is so cheap. Now with this welcome deal, it only presents you these really low prices for your first order. And I believe it's only on the first item. So even if your first order has 10 items, you're not going to get the welcome deal on all of them. It's only really for the first product. And you want to really get rid of this welcome deal because it's basically deflating all your prices and you don't know the true price. So definitely place an order to yourself so you could check this, the quality of the products, and then to get rid of this welcome deal here. And also, if you want to find alternative product images for this product here, right click this, copy image, go to top right here, paste your image in and click search, and it should be able to find other suppliers with the same product, as you can see here. So there's plenty of images for you to use. And let's go back to this one. Where did it go? Another way to find more images, if you go down here, usually they have the same items, and also view more in their description tab here. See description, and there's a few more images here. Now what you want to do is install a Chrome extension app that downloads the images for you. So literally just go image downloader on Chrome and you download like the top rated one. So now that we've imported several products to our store, we got about 13 here. We do want to import it over to Shopify because right now it's only sitting on DS's. So DS's just helps you automate the fulfillment process so that when an order comes in on your Shopify store, you could just click order and you don't need to manually fill in the address, etc. You do have to click order though, and then you do have to also pay on AliExpress, but that's only like 2 buttons. Okay, so let's actually import this ring here. This one looks really nice. Just close these pop-ups. Now what I like to do is actually head over to ChatGPT to give me a name for these rings because there's so many here, right? So copy this image, ChatGPT, can you give me a name for these rings, for this ring collection? A unique product name for this ring collection. And I'll just close these tabs. I hate having so many tabs open. And we also want to make sure that the product images are ticked. Okay, there's so many variants here. So do you see there's 46 variants here, which is just way too many, right? And you do want to only import some of them because this is just ridiculous. And also there are some with zero quantity. So this isn't good actually. We do want to only upload products with a lot of quantity. like this only has 9 left, so by the time you advertise, you source your creatives and etc., it's probably going to be sold out. So this is the problem here. Now what you can do, let's just say you like this ring, you can just ask the supplier like, okay, is this coming back in stock? And if it is, how much are you restocking and when it will be restocked? Because 9 left is not a good sign. Yeah, even these ones look really nice. So we probably shouldn't really do this, but let me just use this one as an example for now. And I'll probably only just do these 2 rings. So where's those 2 rings? I'm actually gonna tick all of these and then find those 2. I think it's this one. Where's the gold one? This one here. And then I'm gonna go action and delete variants. So that's how you could delete your variants. Another way is going up here and you could tick your variants from up here. That will also delete the variants. Well, that will actually select the variants and then you have to delete the variants. Then you click confirm. So now that we only have these 2 variants in this product, we do need to untick a lot of these. So usually I'll just untick them all and then tick them myself because there's simply way too many products. So we do want these product images. This ring here looks so cool. So just those and nice. Okay, so that's images ticked. Description, I usually like to delete all this as well and then go back to main page. So I'm gonna use this one actually. Okay, something like that, and then we're gonna put what is it? Collection rings. Okay, it doesn't have any. So let's just leave that as blank and leave that as blank. And then we're gonna click save. And then we're gonna now push your product to your store. So it's just this bin icon here, this orange one. Click push to store. And actually we do need to edit the prices. So before we import any products to our store, we're gonna go to settings and the bottom left here, and then go to pricing and currencies, pricing rule, toggle that on. And then what we're gonna do is product cost, change that to times, change that to times. And this is going to be 500% and this is going to be like 800%. Because we're selling jewelry with this store, we can mark them up by a massive amount. To be honest, like this one here, I could probably get away with selling this for like $40 or something like that. The goal is you want your average order value to be around $50. So import this again and toggle these all off. Once they're toggled off, you can push to your store. And then once you push this to store, it's gonna appear on my products. Okay, now that our product's here, it's gonna display on Shopify. And once you have completed your default product page, you wanna create your product templates for your collections and or hero products. So what I mean by this is this. So this website here sells men's fashion and this is their homepage. Let's just shop their best sellers, right? We'll go to this one here. And if we go down, this is like the product template, right, for this product. If we scroll down here, we can see they pair it with similar products. And then down here, they have these 50-50 blocks. When I refer to 50-50, 50% of the image is image, 50% of the page is text. So 50-50. And you can see here, this product isn't even the same. So this product image is this one, right? It's like camo gray. If you go down here, this isn't the same product. However, they've created a product template for this collection. So you can see here, this is the same product. So 50-50 block again, and they just talk about the generic collection. You won't just look good, you'll feel ready for everything, or anything, sorry. Get ready for serious compliments whenever you're heading. I don't want you to just ask ChatGPT to create you ad copy and then you just call it a day. Because most of the time it just sounds so plain, boring, and it's just like lifeless. Whereas if you think of your ad copy by yourself and then you ask ChatGPT for a more detailed version, it's much better than asking ChatGPT to just write you a description. So yeah, that's something to keep in mind when you're writing your descriptions. But this here is a product template. So if you go to a similar product, like let's just say this one, the product template below is gonna probably look the same. So it's 50-50, but just different images. So this here is actually another product template because they're using different images. So on Shopify, you'll end up with a lot of product templates. So to open it on Shopify, you just click this icon here, open in store, which will bring you to the product page on Shopify. So here's the product page. Now the first thing I want you to do usually is your tags. So I put ring, rings, gold, silver, blue, flame, jewelry, and probably adjustable. So basically I'm putting as many tags in here so that in the future, if I want to organize my collections based on these tags, they're already in there. So I don't have to keep going back and forth into those products. I'm just going to click this and delete from China. Click this again and delete resizable. This one here, I'll probably just change this to color, silver and gold. Put the gold one first and click done. So now we only have two variants. Make sure this one has the image. So you got the gold and the silver, and you see the pricing is only 11.79, which is nothing. Now let's hit the save button. Every time I do a few adjustments to the product page, I hit save just in case it crashes. So I'm gonna now tick the variants here, and then I'm gonna click bulk edit. And this is gonna change the prices. So price and compare at price, I'm gonna set this at $44.99. And you may think this is expensive, but trust me guys, there are people out there who sell products for more than what you think they should be sold for. It's all about perceived value and your branding and how you present your products and your overall brand. So delete that. And now that's good. What we also need to do now is ask ChatGPT to create us a description. Great. And now write me a product description for our ecom store. Please use copywriting frameworks like Ada and Pez and mention how these are perfect for all occasions, perfect for gifting and making women feel more confident and completing their outfit. Something like that. The more input you give, the better. Also, you do want to attach an image, but because I already attached the image, I don't need to attach it again. So what I'm going to do is ask ChatGPT, can you make this sound more human? Tone of voice should be targeted towards young females and complete the description. Because basically what it's done is presented it like this, whereas I kind of want it more compact. So let's see. Yeah, okay, let's just put this in. So bold, energy, effortless style. So that's going to be heading 3, ready to turn heads. Nice. For all the moments that matter. The confidence boost you deserve. And I also hate double hyphens, so I delete that. Gifting, nailed it. Why you'll love it. And also, when you copy bullet points over from ChatGPT, it'll display it really weird. So you do want to go up here. Oh, where is it? Then click bullet list and then click it again, and that will format it correctly. If you don't, it's going to look really bad on your website. Feel the glow, wear the fire as the end. Cool. So that's that with the description. You kind of want to read through that. I'm not going to read through it because that is not the point of this video. Why is that font different to the other one? Oh, it's because there's bold in it. Okay. So that's that. Now, what we're going to do now is make sure all the images are the same aspect ratio. So we're lucky because the supplier gave it all in 1:1, 1000 by 1000 pixels. So this is good. We don't need to crop. Now, if you do need to crop, you can use this tool here, crop and transform.
and you go square, 3:2, 5:4, and then you can also do landscape as well. So keep that in mind. You do want all your images aspect ratio to be the same. If it's going to be a square for all of them, then keep it as a square. If it's going to be vertical, then make it vertical. So now that we have this product, we're going to click manage, name, tick them, and then click include and hit done and then save. So now we have a product that's published to our store. Now our store isn't live yet, so it doesn't really matter that it's published. Then we're going to go over to online store and build out the product page. So on the online store, we have the Dawn theme, and there's plenty of themes down here that you can use. So to be honest, we can use something like Flora. I've never actually used this theme before, but it seems like a good match for jewelry. So let's just try this theme. It's free, so why not? With my main dropshipping brand, I use the Dawn theme. I did have a paid theme before, but the problem with the paid theme, it lacked a lot of sections. Whereas the Dawn theme, there was many sections. So let's hit customize. And the first thing we're gonna do is go to the product page. So product page, default product, assigned to one product. So we have our ring here. I don't like how the background color is cream. So I'm going to do scheme 4, edit this, and then background as white. So next is removing this dynamic checkout button. So I just clicked that and just left it as add to cart. Quantity you also want to remove, because guys, when has anyone ever bought 2 of the same items? It's very rare, unless you're selling like, I don't know, socks where people want to buy multiple of the same sock, then sure, you can have quantity. But when you're selling like certain products like jewelry, it's very unlikely they're going to buy 2 of the same product. So delete quantity because it's just pushing down your add to cart button. We're also going to change the media width to medium. What's this? What's fill? Not too sure. Okay, so that's that. And stacked is either 2 columns like this or thumbnails. Yeah, something like that. Or you could just do it stacked. Completely up to you. And then we can also change the style of these. I believe, where is it? Product cards, image padding, opacity, corner radius. Remove all the corner radius, collection cards, corner radius. Drop down the pop-ups. Where's the buttons? Buttons, corner radius, remove that. Okay, I'm not too sure how to remove the corner radius for these images here, but there should be a way to do it, and I can't be asked to figure that out right now. So we have our product page here. We do want to add some sections. So we want to go down here, add section, and you can see featured collection, you see collection list, etc. Then you also want to download the app Judge Me because you need to import reviews. So we can just go to here, Judge Me, and install both of them. You need both for it to work. Okay, so let's actually download this now. Install, and I believe Judge Me also has a free forever plan. So honestly, everything is pretty much free right now. The only thing you are paying for is the Shopify £1 per month fee. Now start setup, enable app embed. So once you've toggled this on, you can also go over to your product page and add them in. So product information under the title, actually we're going to delete this text here. Under the title, we're going to go to apps and it'll be star ratings. So that's that there. And then add a section here, apps, and it'll be review widget. Perfect. And then we can hit the save button. And when we go back over to this tab here, our widget block is installed. So we click continue. This one, it'll pick up the, that we installed the star rating. So we continue. And we also need to set our branding.
So we could just do something like this for now. Just leave it as black. Okay, click finish. And then the next one we need to do is import other judge me. So the Ali review importer. Because without this one, you can't import reviews from AliExpress. So one app is to manage, the other app is to import. And nice, that is done. We're gonna pin this to our navigation bar. Let's see how other apps, this one here, we'll pin this to our navigation bar as well, so it always sits there. So that's that. Now let's import some reviews. So we're gonna copy this over from AliExpress, this URL, go back here, the Ali review importer app there, and we can see our product here. If you can't find your product, just use the search icon there. But ours is here, so we're gonna paste our URL, click import, number of reviews to import, we could go 50, then reviews must have pictures, and no, minimum review count 2, import reviews. So once these are imported, you could go to here, import reviews, and you can see they're here. So nice. Now the first thing you need to search for is if they typed AliExpress. They didn't, so that's good. We also need to search for seller because a lot of people say like this, recommend seller, which you do not want. So you just want to change this to recommend this store. Now it should really be recommend this brand. However, I don't have a brand name. So once you come up with your brand name, let's just say it's like Zara or something. Zara Halo, I don't know what it is. Recommend Zara Halo. Okay. That's going to be that. Recommend Zara Halo. Recommend Zara Halo. The reason you want to change this is because recommend seller sounds really weird because you're not a seller, you're actually a brand or store. And you also want to read through these reviews and just make sure they're correct and they actually make sense. So this one's a bit weird, so I'm just going to delete that one. Delete that. You don't want those. You want a few 3 stars and 4-star reviews, but any 1 star and 2 stars you do want to delete. And also make sure that the images are actually of your ring, because remember this one has about like 50 variants. So someone might have bought another ring and left a review for that one. But yeah, so that's how you get the reviews. And now let's head back over to our store. So we've got our reviews there. We also need to have related products. Okay, so we do have related products here, but because we don't have any other products on our store, it doesn't display any. So we do have our related products. We do need to delete this share. So once we've saved that, we do need to add a lot of blocks here. So under the product information, we're gonna add a block here. And when you wanna add a collapsible row, so collapsible row, and then you can add another collapsible row. And the first one is going to be free shipping worldwide. And then you're going to talk about free shipping. So we offer free tracked shipping worldwide to the US, UK, CA, AU, and more. We normally process orders within 1 to 2 business days. Parcels typically arrive within 5 to 10 business days. All orders will receive a tracking number via email, so you can stay up to date. Yeah, something like that. We can remove the check mark. This one is going to be a 30-day money back guarantee, and then you can put a clause here. What I like to do, I used to go to another website and just use their text. Let's see if Crafted London has any. So they have a lifetime warranty. So I'll just copy this, bring it over to here, Your jewelry is crafted to last. But sometimes I think that's why complete with a 30-day guarantee. Snap the chain, damage penalty, we got you. Something like that. Again, when you're going through this, you can do that properly and fill it in properly. So we've got free shipping worldwide, 30-day money back guarantee. We've got our description here. It's a bit long. You do need to cut this down. No one's going to read the whole story. And now, let me show you Sidekick. So, Sidekick is quite cool. Like, something like this, you can't really add in without knowing how to code. And Sidekick can do that for you. So what I'm going to do is just save this image here. I'm going to just print screen this. Print screen that. And then I'm going to ask Sidekick, can you add this image of payment icons under my add to cart button on my product page? And then I'm going to just select the image. So once I've selected the image and added that in, let's see if it creates it. Now, I haven't used Sidekick for this purpose, but honestly, I've seen my friend use it and it's insane. Like, let's just say you want this section here where you want to have 4 videos. You can ask Sidekick to do that for you as well. So let's see. Let's see, generate block. You see here, it's right in it now. AI payment icons grid. Is insane how they have this. Like, you don't need to learn how to code. You just need to tell the AI to write it for you and it does it. It's so impressive. Oh wow, it's chosen some really bad images. I want to only use one image. Okay, maximum image. Select, use this one. And center. Remove the title. And then I'm gonna drag this section to under the buy icon. Ah, wait, I can't do it. Alright guys, so I created this block for the payment icons. However, I can't seem to get it to drag into the product information section. So it's kind of annoying, but I'm just gonna leave it here for now. And let's create some other blocks. So some other blocks that we can create is like, I want to create a section where it's a full width banner, text as 70% of the banner, and then 30% of the banner is a video that I will add. Let's see what it creates. But honestly, this Sidekick AI tool is insane. I just can't believe they've managed to make something like this and integrate it into Shopify. Nice, so just click this and click this arrow here. And let's see it work its magic. Hopefully it could create something cool for us. I should have asked it to make it mobile responsive as well, but I think it knows to stack it when it goes over to mobile. We also want to make this section here with 4 videos, but we'll make that afterwards. So with those 4 videos is really helpful because you can put authentic videos on there, UGC content in there, B-roll shots in there, any videos about your products you can add in there. So let's see what it makes. This is going through the CSS now and the styling, so it should be near the end. Oh, it's creating something nice. I believe I need to close this now. And there we have it. Perfect. So we can do something like the perfect gift for, yeah, something like that. And then shop now, paste the link. No, we don't need shop now button. Upload a video and then select a file. Do we have a video here? Oh my god, it may actually have a video. Okay, let me just download this video for now. Okay, that's been added. Where's my apps? Boom, boom. Go here. Found the videos 1.87. So download that video. Now head back over to here. Upload video. Upload video. Select. Upload video. So now I'm uploading the video. Why? File format is not supported on track. Are you actually serious? Okay, so we might need to set up the starter plan. But yeah, so that's how you add the video files. Let's see. Let's actually drag this up to there. Next, we do want Sidekick to create a section where I can add 4 vertical videos side by side. On mobile, it should be a swipe / carousel of 4 videos. So essentially, you can copy any website as long as you give Sidekick like a detailed input, it'll be able to create it for you. What else can we add? Look at these guys selling theirs for £50 when you can literally find this on AliExpress. Is insane. This section here is quite neat. We should probably add this too. So while that's cooking up, see what else. So this one has videos and it's scrolling. Kind of cool. Okay, so that's all they have. Okay, this is perfect. So now we have it. We've got our 4 videos here and we can just bring that up. So like that, perfect. Just like that, we have 4 and then check on mobile. How does it look? Perfect. Not too sure if that's swipeable on mobile, but I'm assuming it is. Kind of insane. So that's that. What else can we add to this section here? Ah, yes, this one here. However, this is kind of just like 4 icons. They do have this section for that within the blocks. So over here is icons with text. However, it's kind of hideous. So let's actually make this. What I want is a section. Maybe they have it. Multi-column. It might be a multi-column, but I don't see icons. Okay, no, there is. Okay, nice. However, this multi-column isn't stacked. "30-day warranty and hassle-free returns." Something like that, and then we could get our icons from Flat Icon or a free website to get your free icons. But yeah, it's just so cool how you have Sidekick now, which can essentially code up sections for you within a few minutes. And that there, guys, is how you build your product pages. So once you hit save, that's your product page. And then what you want to do is actually create product templates. So you're going to hit create template and then the default product and name this like necklace. Once you click that, what you're going to do is now create templates for your collections and not for individual products. Otherwise, let's just say you have 50 products, you're not going to create 50 templates for each product. So it's best to just create templates for your collections. So let's just say you have necklace, earrings, and rings and bracelets. You have 4 templates. And the sections down here will be more generic. So these 4 videos may be generic, perfect gift may be more generic. But of course, if you want unique videos for your hero products, then you're gonna need to create another template. So it could be, call it like this. So then there's an actual template for this ring. It does get a bit cluttered if you keep adding more templates for individual products. But if you want custom product pages for each product, then you'll need to create these templates. Not the end of the world, it just means you're going to have a lot of templates to deal with. And before you make all your templates, make sure everything looks correct before you just mass duplicate and then create all these templates. And then you find out you need to change the color of the button or something. Because when you need to change the color of the title, let's say, you're going to have to go through all the templates and change the title color, which you don't want to do. So before you start creating all these templates, you do want to complete the default product so that once you start duplicating, the majority of it is complete, the branding is complete, you're not going to change like the color of the title, etc., or the font. So I hope that makes sense. One more thing before I go. If you go into this ring here, you can assign the theme template products over here. So of course this one will have the After Flame Ring template. Now let's just say you've imported like 10 products already and now you've only just watched this video and you're creating templates. What you can do is go over here, tick all your products, click bulk edit, and then go to columns. You could compare at price and you could also click template, and from here you could change the templates and also the product pricing. Next, you want to install Judge Me to import reviews from AliExpress. This is also a free app. So yes, DS's has a free forever plan. I do have an affiliate link for DS's which you can find underneath this video, but there's a free forever plan. Now the only time you upgrade to the $19.99 plan per month is when you start making sales. The reason why you need the advanced plan on DS's or the $19 a month plan on DS's is because you need to automate the tracking process. Just imagine your suppliers uploads the tracking information. How are you going to get that to your customers? Now DS's will do that automatically for the first email if you're on the paid plan. If you're on the free plan, they do not do that. And that's why you need the paid plan when you're making sales. Also, you're going to need another tracking app because DS's only sends the initial email like, oh, your product has been shipped. But you can also send your customers updated tracking information emails with the app Aftership or Tracking 123. And again, I do have an affiliate link for Aftership because I've been using them for 5 years. Same with DS's, I've been using them for 4 years. Before that, it was Oberlo. So if you've been here long enough, you'll probably know what Oberlo was, but they got bought out by Shopify. And then after a few years, they shut down Oberlo. So install Judge Me to import reviews and install OmniSend for automated SMS flows. Now in my previous videos, I would recommend Yotpo. However, Yotpo SMS is moving away and they're shutting down the SMS sector within their business. Very sad to see because Yotpo, I think they bought out SMS Bump or they renamed SMS Bump. I'm not too sure, but I think they bought out SMS Bump and now they're closing down. And also you want to set up your Shopify flows for email flows. Now when I say email and SMS flows, these are automated emails when your customers abandon checkouts or they abandon your cart or they looked at the products but they didn't add to cart. And that's when you send them an email or SMS. You also want to look at your competitors for inspiration so that you can build a professional looking website that looks and feels similar to your competitors. You don't want to stand out too crazy with wacky colors or crazy fonts that people can't read. You don't need to do that. Just a nice, simple store. You want to avoid bright colors, black backgrounds especially, because a lot of you guys don't understand about hierarchy with information. If your background is black and everything is white, the only thing that differentiates your text is the size. So I can't tell if I should be reading this first or that first. I can only tell based on the sizes. Whereas if you're running a white background store, then you can actually tell where you need to read first because of the color differences and also size differences. And also with the color black, it makes your eyes like look at information weirdly. That's why I don't like black. You can look into this. It's all about UX UI design. And also don't use unreadable fonts. Stick to sans serif font. Now if you don't know what sans serif font is, this here is a sans serif font, like this presentation. They don't have flicks at the end of the letters, right? So a lot of you guys probably use serif fonts because you think it's fancy or professional, but it actually ruins the accessibility of your store, and it's very, very hard to read text when it's serif. That's why I stick to sans serif. You want to complete your website with my other guides on YouTube, and I have so many video guides. Videos that are 2 years ago, they're still relevant when it comes to making your website. They don't really go outdated. I mean, Shopify does update like the Dawn theme or Horizon theme, but the overall concept still remains. So next up, we have creating your socials, guys. A lot of you guys, when I look at your ad account, you don't even have an Instagram account. Like, what's going on? Why are you being so lazy and not disciplined? Look up brands online. They have Instagram page, YouTube page, Facebook page, TikTok page, Snapchat, everything, Pinterest. Why are you being lazy? Just create that Instagram page for your business. It's just insane. Don't be lazy. Create your business profile pages for Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Pinterest, TikTok, and start posting content across these channels. If you think about it, look at Nike. They build like this massive marketing channel where you're constantly seeing them. You see them on Instagram, you see them on a tube, you see them on buses, you see them in magazines, you see them everywhere. And so you keep thinking about that brand. Now, when you're running only Facebook ads, people only see your ads. They don't see like your social posts, they don't see anything else. And that's why you need to expand your marketing channels and start creating these pages so that you could post on them organically. Start posting organically on the socials. I recommend about once a day. And you want to create content that people want to watch. Don't just post like generic content. You really want to think out the box and create content that people want to watch. Most of the time, you need to adapt to your audience. So let's just say your audience is 50-year-olds. Well, you're not going to create brain rot content for that 20-year-olds watch when your target audience is 50-year-olds, right? So you do need to keep that in mind. Like, let's just say you're selling a back posture product for 60-year-olds. Then you're going to make long form content for 60-year-olds, right? It's not really for 20-year-olds to watch. So you do keep that in mind. Now, if you want to target 25-year-olds, then you can post that brain rot content that people want to see, and then you introduce your brand into it. You want to avoid sharing product photos as people don't care about that. They just don't care about your product. What they care about is themselves, and when they're scrolling Instagram or TikTok, they just want to make themselves happy. They want that instant dopamine hit, right? And looking at a product photo isn't going to do that, right? You need to make your videos funny, engaging, you're either informing or entertaining your viewers, right? So definitely keep that in mind. Now, let's say you create content and you want to test out if it's actually good or not. Just show your sibling, your friends, or your target audience. If there's no reaction on their face, it's probably a shit video, like honestly speaking. Use CapCut or iMovie to create your reels. I use CapCut because I don't use Apple, so I don't have iMovie. And use Canva to create your static images or your carousels. Honestly, it's the ugly looking creatives and the more authentic and more organic ones that does the best. Next is creating your avatars. Remember guys, I said this is a very important aspect. So before you run ads, you need to create your avatars. I can't stress how important this stage is because before, like 5 years ago, avatars wasn't really a thing. Like you could like run any ads and people will buy. But these days, you really have to consider your avatars and their desires. Without truly understanding your audience's desires, you'll have a very difficult time trying to advertise to them. And that's why you need to create your avatars. Maybe it's 5 avatars, maybe it's 10, maybe it's 15. So many ways to target your audience. There's so many different pockets of audience that creates these avatars. You need to dive in deep and ask yourself why people want to buy your products. Is it to make them feel happy? Is it to make their girlfriend feel happy? Is it a gift? Is it for their mums? Is it for mums to buy for their kids? Is it boyfriends to girlfriends? Is it husband to wife? Is it wife to husband? Is it to make them feel more confident? Is it so they can look good on dates? Is it a dress that they could wear in summer? Is it something they could wear on holiday? There's just so many like desires and avatars that you can target. So what is it that they want? You want to brainstorm their desires? Is it to prevent their dog from dying? Like, are you selling a dog product that helps dogs live longer? So the desire isn't really to prevent their dog from dying. The desire is so that they can have more time with their dog, right? So they can spend longer years with their dog. So you really need to like think deeper. It's not like just stay surface level. You need to go further in. So is it so they can make their girlfriend feel special or loved? Maybe their girlfriend doesn't feel like they're in a strong relationship, right? I'm not too sure. It depends on your products. Then ask yourself, how can you target these desires with different angles and messaging? So yeah, just ask yourself, like, how can you target these people with different angles and messages? You should also consider if it will help them feel better mentally or physically. It's just all about emotions at the end of the day, guys. As long as you can create emotions with your ads and your product descriptions, then you'll make sales. So next is Facebook ad strategy, which is probably the most important part of this video. With the Andromeda update, this means Facebook should be able to find your winning and losing ads quicker than the past. So if you want to focus on your ad creatives and your ad copy, the structure doesn't matter, guys. The Facebook ad strategy, all it depends on is your creative and ad copy. If those two things are strong, trust me, you'll make sales. The strategy doesn't matter as long as you're organized and you kind of know what you're doing with your campaign structure. You want to test ABO v CBO. Now, if you don't know what that means, ABO is ad set budget optimization. So you could test and force spend into specific ad sets. CBO is campaign budget optimization, where you set the budget at campaign level and Facebook will choose where the budget goes. Now, the problem with Facebook is they basically want you to give them a lot of control. However, there's been times where you do that and Facebook will spend money on the wrong ad set or the wrong ad. Now, a lot of you guys who've run ads before, you kind of understand what I mean here. But if you're completely new, basically you think Facebook will actually spend budget where is on the ad that's going to get you the most sales. Now, you hope that was the case, but sometimes that isn't the case and they force spend on an ad that just doesn't work. And that's why I still like to test my ABO campaigns out. You also want to test broad vs interest stack. Now, broad means you're targeting everyone in the world. Do not narrow down age. Do not narrow down gender. Do not narrow down by interest. All it is just a broad ad set. Now, interest. This one is when you're testing one interest within that ad set. So you're still testing all ages, still testing all genders. All you're doing is targeting one interest. Now, let's just say you're selling necklaces for girls. Now, yes, you can go the simple route and just target necklace, but you can dive deeper into this because you've done your avatar research. What is it that they like to eat? Where do they like to shop? Do they like to shop in River Island or do they like to shop at Louis Vuitton? So if they like to shop at Chanel, you can target Chanel maybe and see if that works for you. So you need to ask yourself this and test those interests out too. And also interest stack basically is just a stack of interests. So it's like maybe a stack of 5 or a stack of 10. Doesn't really matter. You just stack those interests. You also want to test between 5 to 15 ads in each ad set. Now, in my previous videos, I capped this at 3. But with the Andromeda update, you can just upload as many ads as you want in these ad sets. You can even mix formats up as well. So back then, I would split videos away from images and carousels because videos would normally take up all the spend. And so I split them up. But with the new Andromeda update, Facebook just wants you to just give them all the creatives, just put them all in one campaign and they'll find you the winning ads. But the thing is, I still like some sort of control. That's why I still test a lot of these things out. You also want to test individual countries, these top 10 countries in one ad set. So for me, I like to test 5 to 10 countries per ad set. I rarely ever target just one country in an ad set. And the reason for this is because let's just say you target the US in one ad set. Now, what will happen to the ad when the Americans sleep? It will still spend your money, but the Americans are sleeping. So that's why I like to have multiple countries in the ad set so that when Americans are sleeping, they'll target Australians or UK people, right? So it keeps rotating. We're going to go through 5 different ways you can source ad creatives for your ads. So the 5 methods we're going to go through is, the first one's ordering the product and filming it yourself. Number 2, asking family and friends. Number 3, sending it to micro influencers. Number 4, finding UGC content creators on Fiverr. And number 5, finding videos online to validate your idea. And by the end of this video, you will know 5 different methods on how to film your ad creatives. So with the first method, you're actually killing 2 birds with 1 stone, because you can sample the product and film it yourself. You also have full creative control and authenticity when you film the product. Since you'll be filming it yourself, you can add a personal touch to your ad creatives so you can resonate with your desired customers. Use your smartphone or camera to shoot your own content with good lighting, and then you edit it with CapCut. Now, if you don't have good lighting, this is where the issue is, because that's the sort of issue I face quite often. This is because the normal lighting you use in your bedrooms or living room doesn't always come out as nice on camera, and you actually need to get those box fill lights, and they're around like $20 to $30 on Amazon. And with this method, it's actually very difficult if you don't have any experience in filming or editing, or a good environment to shoot your content. For example, I'm in the UK and it's raining like literally half of the year. So it's gloomy, dark, and wet outside constantly. So it's very hard to film like content in a rainy, wet country. So if you're in a really sunny country, or it's sunny right now for you, then that's like the perfect time to shoot content. Of course, you could pay for photo studios and stuff like that, but the cost only adds up. And you kind of want quick access to this environment so that you can just quickly keep creating creatives and testing those out on your ads. If you think about it, the more boundaries there are and hurdles to get this filming done, the longer it's going to take, and the second you're just going to put it off to the side because of how many hurdles you have to get through to actually get a video done. I also found this method quite difficult to film yourself, because you have to hold the camera and hold the product. It's just very difficult. So maybe you get like a friend or family to help you out, because you may need another person holding the product and then yourself holding the camera. So on to the second method, which is asking your friends and family to shoot the content for you. Now, this is actually quite difficult if you don't pay your friends and family, because if you don't, they don't really take it seriously, and the date you schedule to shoot just gets pushed forward and forward, because they just don't take it seriously if you're not paying for it. But of course, this just depends on your friends and family, how far they are from you, and how busy their lives are. The benefit of this method is that you get to diversify the skin color, tone of voice, and environments, so that you can test different factors on your ad creatives. You want to ask them for a candid review of the product. You also want to provide guidelines to your friends and family on what they should say in the video and what they should be doing. Should they be opening the parcel? Should they be jumping into the camera? Visual hooks. Maybe give them examples of what you want the video to turn out to be. And the more guidelines you give, is you're not restricting them. It just helps clarify what the video should look like. Otherwise, your friends and family are just going to be like, okay, what should I do now? How should I film this? And then they're just going to ask you a bunch of questions, and you can simply answer them by giving them guidelines beforehand. So as I mentioned before, friends and family are usually too busy to film, and you may have to constantly chase them up. But of course, when there's money on the line, they're going to do it sooner rather than later. So the third point is sending to micro influencers. They're familiar with shooting content, and they make content look aesthetically pleasing. Usually what I do, I offer a free product in exchange for content. However, with this method, you can't really demand for much because it's for free. Like, you can't ask them, oh, I want it shot like this, I want you to say this. Of course, if you're paying them, then you can ask for that sort of stuff, right? When you reach out to micro influencers on TikTok and Instagram, you want to send them a short, snappy welcome message. You don't want to send them like a whole paragraph for them to read. All you need to send to your micro influencers is something short and snappy, like, hey, do you want free products in exchange for video content? Literally as simple as that. And then maybe send them a link to your website.
The benefit of this is they could also recommend your products to their audience as well as you getting content. You also want to provide them a discount code for their followers to use, and usually this is quite a big chunk because you're not actually going to pay for Facebook ads, you're actually paying for micro influencers. So basically the cost to acquire customers this route doesn't involve Facebook ads. So that's a large chunk of profit that you could potentially give as a discount to your influencers. You want to reach out to influencers in your niche, and it's pretty easy to do. All you're going to do is open up the Instagram app, find influencers within your niche, and then literally message them. Once you found one, just go to their posts, see who's liking and who's commenting on their posts. And usually there are other influencers who comment on other influencers' posts, and you want to just message them as well. You want to find influencers between like the 10k follower range to 100k. Anything more, they're going to start asking for a lot of money, like in the thousands or multiple hundreds, which you do not want. When you're starting off, you kind of just want to work with micro influencers who just offer content for free in exchange for your product. Make sure they have a good engagement rate. So you don't want to find influencers with like 50,000 followers, but they barely get any likes and comments. You want to find ones where they get a lot of comments and a lot of likes. So the next method is finding UGC content creators on Fiverr. And there are a wide range of creators on there with different qualities and different rates. For me, what I found best was around the $50 to $100 mark. Anything more, it just gets a bit too expensive for each ad creative. And at the beginning, you don't really know what winning script or winning hook or visual hooks look like. So if you're paying like a UGC content creator $200 per video, but your script is bad, your visual hook's bad, your first 3 seconds terrible, you're just wasting a lot of money. So it's best to start off smaller, and as you start getting better at scripting and storytelling, that's when you can start reaching out to more expensive UGC content creators. You want to review their previous work once you found them and provide clear instructions and scripts so they know what they're going to say and do in your ad creative. You also want to ask them for package deals and see what they have to offer because the prices on Fiverr are flexible. You also want to ask for the original content and edited content so that in the future you have both files to work with. You also want to ask for permission to use their content to run ads. There's some content creators out there who only let you use their videos for like the first 3 months, and I'm not too sure why that's a thing, but that's why you want to clarify that. So with this method, you want to find 3 to 5 different content creators on Fiverr, send them the product and get them to make a video. Please make sure that you send them guidelines and a script to follow. Otherwise, they're just going to blabble and say whatever they want, and that's not what you want for your ad creatives. So for the last and final method, find videos online to validate your idea, which is a method that I don't really agree with because imagine you create a lot of content yourself and then there's dropshippers out there who just rip your content and use it for themselves. It's just annoying and frustrating. And this is why I don't really like this method, unless you're finding videos online that weren't created by other creators. So what you want to do is research existing videos on social media, which can give you insights on what's working well for your products and niche. And it can inspire new creative directions for your product as well. You want to look on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. And what you want to do is note down the scripts, visual hooks, captions, the text animations, what voice they're using, is it AI or human, what music, the angle, the messaging, etc. Use these videos for idea validation only. Otherwise, you might get in trouble by Facebook ads. And number two, it's just morally wrong to just steal videos online and use it for yourself because you wouldn't want someone else doing that with your videos, right? So pointers. Make sure to write your scripts first before sending them off to your creators. And as I mentioned before, stick to like the $50 to $100 range for each UGC content creator. Influencers don't usually make good content unless you pay them. And that's why the videos that they make for you aren't really for your ad creators, but for more organic reach and for your website.
All right, I'm back from my break. I'm hoping you guys are taking breaks and taking notes down. I know this is a long video, but we're now talking about ads. So this is phase 1 of testing. So this phase, you'll always be running this phase no matter where you are in your dropshipping journey or ecom journey, because you should always be testing. Ads will experience creative fatigue as time goes by, and that's why you need to keep constantly testing new ad creatives, different angles, and some of these will last longer than others, depending on the angle. Because let's just say you're targeting a specific like dog, like Rottweilers, I don't know, or maybe not so popular breed. That ad creative may not last as long as an ad that's targeting like poodles, for example. So you do need to keep that in mind. You always want to be testing new creatives, new ad copy, new angles, and new products. So phase one is a constant phase that you're constantly running. It never stops. And the idea behind the testing phase is that you can find your winning formula. So a lot of you guys think the testing phase is for you to make money, but honestly, it's to find that winning formula, because once you found that winning formula, that's when the sales will come in. Your main focus at this stage is lowering your CPC and increasing your add to cart rate. So CPC stands for cost per click. So how much does it cost for your visitors to go to your website from your ads? So usually your cost per click, you're aiming for less than $1, and your add to cart rate, you're aiming for more than 4%. Your creative is more important than the structure of your campaigns. Can't stress that enough, guys. Back then, campaign structure was quite important in 2020, but 2025, creatives is the most important part of running Facebook ads. So, structure one allows you to test different interests so you can find out what works. So you have one ABO campaign per collection. Let's just say you have 4 collections on your website. You're running a jewelry store, you're selling necklaces, bracelets, rings, and earrings. That's 4 campaigns. Then you have 5 ad sets testing different interests at $10 per day. So 5 times 10 is $50 per day. Now, if you don't have that much or you don't want to spend that much, you can lower this to $5 per day or even $3 per day. It just means you need to wait a little longer. And it also depends on your average order value. If you're selling something for $100 and you're running ads for $5 a day, you have to wait a few more days for you to generate views and sales. So 5 to 15 ads per ad set. So 5 times, let's just say you have 10 ads in each ad set, you'll have 50 ads running in total. And just bear in mind, the 10 ads that you create in the first ad set will be the same in the other ad sets. You're not creating 50 new ads. You're only creating 10 ads and you're testing them across the different ad sets. Structure 2. So with this structure, it gives Facebook more control and it lets their AI do the work whilst prioritizing less on testing interests. So it will be one campaign that's CBO per collection at $50 per day. Or if you want to start at low budget, you could do $20 per day as well. Now, the reason why we start at low budget is one, I don't want to scare you off when you're spending so much money a day and you're not generating any money. Two, depending on your cash flow. Now, if you're starting with $1,000 in your bank account and you're spending $50 a day, that's a lot of money because over time it adds up. There's other costs that you need to pay for. And also account limits. So most ad accounts, when you're first starting off, you can't spend like $100 a day. There's a cap at like 36 or something, $35 a day. So there's no point. There's no point increasing budgets when you're capped on your spend. So in the CBO campaign, you have 2 ad sets. One's going to be broad and the second one is going to be interests. So broad, again, is just targeting everyone, all ages, all genders, no interest. The interest one will be all genders, all ages, and just either one interest or several interests. It's entirely up to you. That's not the point. The point is your creators. That is where the money's made, is your creatives. So 5 to 15 ads per ad set again. So you have 2 ads with 5 to 15 ads, more the better. And you can test a range of ads out. Images, videos, carousels, just test them. So this here is actually my ad account for my brand. As you can see here, from maximum 2022 to 2025, I spent over £770,000. Now that's over $1 million, and this doesn't include the previous 2 years because Facebook only shows you the past 3 years. So yeah, I spent over £1 million on Facebook ads, and as you can see here, there are tons of campaigns, right? Just a ton of campaigns. And basically, what Facebook is telling us now, you don't need to create all these campaigns. You just need to create one campaign, a few ad sets, and just shove all your ads inside those ad sets, and they'll find you your winners. So let's go over to a new ad account. So it's new here. What you're going to do is hit the create button. And if you're on ECOM selling products, all you're going to be targeting is sales. This is the only campaign objective that you need to use. Do not worry about the rest. Next, we're going to call this TOF, top of the funnel, and then it'll just be your category name. So maybe it's necklaces, prospecting, and that's it. Now, if you've uploaded more than 50 products to your store, you can use the Advantage Plus catalog ads. However, if you only have like 10 to 20 products on your store, then I would avoid using this catalog ad. For me, I have over 2,000 products on my store. I've slowly built up to 2,000 products. At the beginning, I had around 50 products, and then every day, 2 to 3 products added to my store. And over time, you get to my position where you have 2,000 products on your store. And so the reason why I wouldn't suggest Advantage Plus catalog ads if you have less than 50 products is because you simply don't have enough products for it to work effectively. And so you should be creating your ads manually. So campaign budget is left on, and what you want to do is set this to £50 or whatever budget you're comfortable with. Honestly, it doesn't matter. If you want to run £10 a day, £20, 100 is completely up to you, but it also depends on your ad account and if there's any spending limits. If you have a new ad account, usually your spending limit per day is around $50. So you can't even spend more than that. Even if you set this daily budget to 100, you're capped at $50 a day. The rest of this page, you can leave it as it is. We do want to make sure this is on highest volume for the campaign bid strategy. So that's the campaign level done. Next, we want to go to the ad set level on the left here. So this is where you're going to set your audience and who you're going to target. So on ad set level, we're going to call this 2507, which stands for 2025 July. Now, if this is August, then it'll be 2508, right? But when July is still, so 2507. And we're going to name this broad all. So all means all countries. And then I also like to put AP for auto placements. And this can be pack 1. So message destinations, you want to change that to website. Depending on where you are, you may actually have website and app, because if you are from the US, you may have the shop app. But for me, I just use single website, and I'll just change this to maximum number of conversions. And then, well, I don't have a data set here, but you basically want to target purchases. You do not want to target or optimize for add to carts or checkouts or anything else but purchases, okay? Cost per result goal, you want to leave that as none. Start date, start tomorrow at 00. Now, if you're in the US, this you may have to type in 12 a.m. over here, but because I'm from the UK, it allows me to type 00. Now, the reason why you want to set it to the next day at 00 is because you want your ads to spend evenly throughout the day. Now, let's just say you launch your ads at like 6 p.m., they're active at 9 p.m. The problem with Facebook is they'll spend your budget within that 3 hours left of the day. And so it'll squeeze out all the budget, spend it all, and probably won't get you any sales, and you wasted all that money. So very crucial to set it on the next day at 00 or 12 a.m. Now, next is locations. So what we want to do is just type in all our locations that we want to target. So for me, it's the United Kingdom, United States, Australia, Canada, Germany, and so on. So for now, I'll just leave the 5 countries in here, but there are more countries that I target. Next, add suggestions optional. You can change the age and gender here, but honestly, we're just gonna leave this all broad. So broad means you're literally not touching anything except adding countries. And again, down here, placements, you want to leave this as automatic. And that is basically your broad ad set. Now, what you want to do is go to the ad level and start adding all your ad creatives. A lot of people are unorganized when I see their ad account. Your ad name is going to be your ad copy first line. So, whatever your ad copy's first line is, that's going to be your ad name. And that's so that you can quickly see which ad is which. Make sure your Facebook page is linked and your Instagram page, Threads profile, you can leave it. And down here, you can select manual ad and then go to flexible. Once you're in flexible format, you can add all your images or videos here. Now, you don't want to mix the two together. If this is going to be image ad, make sure you just have images in this media here. You could have 10 images. Just do not mix images with videos. Next, your primary text. Now, if you don't know what to put here, you can ask ChatGPT to write you good ad copy. And what you can also do is go onto ad library and see what your competitors are writing for the ad copy, right? So like if you go to crafted for men's jewelry, you can see what sort of ad copy they're using for their ads. So back to here, you can add 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different primary texts, just shove them in here. Next, your headline, this is also important. You could just say up to 50% off of whatever your offer may be. And again, you could add multiple headlines. Description, I like to put free worldwide shipping. Make sure you do offer that. If you do not, then you should really put the price of the shipping within your products because nobody likes to pay extra for shipping costs. Website URL, make sure this is pointing to your product page, landing page, and not like your home page. Now, if you want to advertise like a collection, let's just say you're advertising 5 different necklaces, then sure, you can point them to the necklace collection page. However, that means there's an extra step for your customers before they land on the product page because they're going to land on your collection page and then they're going to find your product. So that's why it's actually better if you point them to the product page. Change the call to action to shop now. Make sure that it's shop now. Leave that as none. And website events here. Make sure you've set up your website events. I don't have a pixel on this ad account. That's why it doesn't show here. But there should be a tick box and you tick it. Now for your URL parameter down here, this will help you with your tracking. What I like to do is call it 2507, something like necklace like that, TOF and broad or something like that. And the reason why we have URL parameters is just to help with tracking. So that's that with your ad. And what you're going to do is just literally duplicate this as many times as you want. Let's just say 8 times. Okay, I can't duplicate because I don't have a beneficiary ticked here. But basically, you duplicate it by 8 times or 5 times, whatever you want. And you're going to test different ad creatives, different ad copy. Maybe you're targeting different avatars. Just keep testing, guys. Give Facebook as many ad creatives as you can and different ad copy for them to work with. Once you've finished that, what you're going to do is duplicate this ad set here. I can't duplicate it because I haven't ticked the beneficiary. But what you're going to do, you're going to change the name to interest. So before it was broad, you're going to dupe it, change it to interest. You're going to go down here, suggest an audience, detailed targeting, and you're going to put some interest in here. Now, let's just say you're selling jewelry. What you'll put here is, I don't know, jewelry. See what comes up. Jewelry, clothing. There we go. And what else? We can target fashion accessories, bracelets, necklace, etc. So you could add up to like 5 or 10 interests. It really doesn't matter. And honestly, with the Andromeda update coming out, or is already rolled out actually, it depends on your ad account. No one really knows. Like you could have one interest in there, you could have 5, you could have 10. Just test for yourself and see what works. And it also depends on what interest you're picking. in the past, I've basically had one interest, it worked. I had 3 interests, it worked. I had 7 interests, it worked. We're not Facebook, we're not the people who built this system. So we don't 100% know what works and what doesn't work. And that's why a lot of the time you just have to see for yourself and test. And so that's your campaign structure. So reviewing your ads once they've launched. So let's say day one, you've launched your ad now, you're going to review your ads at night, but do not kill them unless your CPC is above $3. If your CPC is like $2, maybe wait another day so that maybe it will drop over time. However, if your CPC is like $5, $6 per click, that's ridiculously expensive, and I don't think Facebook is going to optimize it any lower, and so you should just kill it on day one. That usually means your ad creative is super bad. It's just terrible. And I've never really seen a CPC above $6, to be fair, unless you're running ads within the beauty niche and your ads are just terrible. So next is day two. So review your ads in the morning, and if the CPC is above $2, then it's likely that your creatives are bad, but I'll still leave it running for a full 48 hours before you really touch your ad account. At night, review your ads, and if your CPC is above $1 and your AOV averages around $50, then I'll kill your ads. Now, the reason why I mentioned AOV is because AOV does impact CPC as well. If you're selling a product that's $150 or even like $300, then your CPC will be a little higher. So you wouldn't really kill your ads if your CPC is above $1 when you're selling a product that's $300. If you're selling a product that's $300, you can really have a CPC of $3. Anything higher, you may be pushing it. So again, all these like metrics and information is quite generic, and it depends on so many factors. And that's why I always recommend, if you're stuck with ads and you need help, book a call in with me and I will give you that help. One-to-one, it's just me and you. I'll go through your metrics, your funnel, your store, everything, and I'll give you my 2 cents on where you can improve. And if your CPC is below $1, then let your ads run. So remember guys, after 48 hours, that's when you review your ads, you switch them off or you keep them on. Also, never ever delete ads if they've run, because you need that data and you need to understand ads that don't work. You don't just switch them off and that's it. What you want to do is switch them off and understand why they weren't working so you don't make the same mistakes again. It's very crucial. Otherwise, let's just say you made an ad copy or creative that didn't work, it was very expensive, and then 2 weeks later you forgot about that and you create it again and you just wasted more money. So that's why it's super important to keep track of not just what's winning, but also what's losing. Day 3. So after 72 hours, you should ideally start seeing add to carts on your website. And if your CPC is below $1 and you've received hundreds of visitors in your store, let's just say by day 3 you only had like 90 visitors, then you're not really going to get add to carts. Maybe you get like 3 add to carts, but it's unreliable data. You really need a bit more than that. And it also depends on how much you're spending, guys. If you're only spending like $20 a day, I wouldn't expect too much out of that. So your average add to cart rate should be 4%. So for every 100 visitors that go onto your website, you should have 4 add to carts. And make sure when you're running ads, you're sending people to your product pages and not your home page. Sometimes you can send them to your collection pages because you're running an ad that has multiple products. So let's just say you're selling like 5 necklaces and your video has 5 necklaces, then you can send them to your collection page. Now, if you do not have any add to cart after 72 hours and your CPC is below $1, that means your ad creative is decent, but your landing page needs to improve, or your offer or your product needs to change. So many factors, but essentially, if your CPC is below $1, it basically means you have a good ad. But if you have no added carts, it's simple. No one adding to cart, then it's probably your landing page. So when something like this happens, you need to act fast because your ads are still spending money, but you're not getting add to carts because of your landing page. So this is when you need to improve your website like on the fly. So this will be at night, right? When you're reviewing your ads. Maybe it's 12 a.m. now. You got work the next day. This is where discipline and resilience comes in. I don't care if you need to sleep. This is your business. Your ads are still running. You're still spending money. You need to put in that work and fix up your landing page. Let's just say it's like 11 p.m. Your friends ask you to come out, like to meet them, whatever. I don't care. You need to stop that. You need to fix up your landing page. Stop whatever you're doing. Maybe your girlfriend wants to like watch a movie with you. I don't care. You are running a business right now, and your business is calling for your help when you're getting no add to carts. Now let's just say your cost per click is above $1 and you're getting add to carts. That means your landing page is good, but your ads are too expensive. Just imagine if your cost per click is $2. That means for 100 visitors, you're paying $200 for 100 visitors to go onto your website. So if you're just paying $200 for 100 visitors, ask yourself, how much sales do you need to make to cover your ad costs? Remember, you need to count for cost of goods as well. So let's just say one sale gives you like $40 profit. You're going to need 5 sales to cover that $200 ad cost. And that's only to break even, guys. Just imagine that. And that's why your cost per click is so important when you're testing. Not many people talk about this. Now, day 4. Let's say you did get add to carts after day 3 and your CPC remains below $1. This is good news. People should start buying from your store on day 4 and 5, depending on your average order value and depending on your budget. Again, if you're on a lower budget, then you do need to wait longer days. So maybe it's not day 4, maybe it's day 6, etc. However, the most important part is just making sure your CPC is cheap and your add to cart rates is there. Usually you'll have to spend 1x your average order value to generate sales at the beginning, as you're just starting out and Facebook needs time to optimize. So let's just say you're selling a product for $60. Ideally, you will be spending $60 on ads to generate that first sale. Unfortunately, that's just the case. Maybe your ad creatives are so good you start generating it sooner than that, but most of the time, that just won't be the case. So day 5. If you didn't receive any purchases on day 4, then wait another day and hopefully you receive your first purchase on day 5 or a future date. However, if you do not receive a purchase after day 5, then there's something wrong with your product, your creatives, your landing page, or offer. But again, it depends on how much you're spending and your AOV. Unfortunately, there are just too many factors that could contribute to no purchases, which is why I offer my calls. If you ever feel like you need help with your store ads, please schedule a call with me and I'll help identify your problems and offer you solutions. One-time call, I'm not going to upsell you anything. I'm a super simple, chill guy. I'm just here to help you. Metrics to look out for. So Facebook ad metrics. Your CPM will vary based on your niche, so it's not too important. However, if you're in the beauty niche and your CPMs are above $100 and $200 and your average order value is $40, I would probably give up on that product because it's just too cheap. If you're in the beauty industry, you need to advertise something that's going for $100, $200, because CPMs in the beauty industry is just too expensive. It's such a competitive industry. Your CTR should be above 2.5%. The higher the CPM, the higher your CTR. Now sometimes my CPM is so cheap. My CPM is like £3, but my CTR is sometimes 6%. And so my ad costs like 6p sometimes for each click. So 100 clicks would only cost me like, what, £6? So CPC is the most important metric when you're testing. You want to aim below $1, guys. Now, if your average order value is higher, you can aim above this. But most of the time, you want to aim below this. Video metrics is also important, especially the average playtime if you are running ads. Now, the reason why the average playtime is important is, let's just say you're running video ads and people are only watching for 4 seconds. So what's happening here is your second clip isn't engaged enough or it's just irrelevant and people just don't care about it, so they swipe away. And that there means you need to improve your ad creatives and then test more. So your CPR and ROAS is irrelevant at the beginning unless you made sales. Most of the time when you're running ads at the beginning, you won't really make sales. So cost per result doesn't matter because what result is there? You haven't made any sales. And then ROAS is irrelevant too because you made no sales. And also when you're running ads for e-commerce, only ever run ads optimized for purchases, guys. I do not want you guys optimizing for add to carts, checkouts, landing page views, nothing like that. You're optimizing only for purchases. Very, very important. Shopify analytics. Add to cart rate should be above 4%. However, if your CPC is above $1, your add to cart rate should be above like 6%, 8%. It all kind of balances out. Checkout rate should be around 2%, and purchases should be around 1%. And you can see here that each part of the funnel, it gets cut in half by 50%. Now, when it comes to optimizing your ads and understanding your ads, first is your columns. A lot of you guys are probably just defaulting with the performance column here. So it just has like bid strategy, budget, attribution settings, results. This is irrelevant to us. You really don't need them when you're starting out. What you want to do is customize your own columns down here. So you create your own custom columns. So you can see here, ECOM zone 2. Let me just shrink this. So with my custom columns, these are all the metrics that you need to look at when you're testing and scaling. So when you're customizing your columns, you click this. And what you want is your delivery, impressions, CPMs, which is the cost per 1,000 impressions. So 1,000 people who watch your videos, your CTR, which is your click-through rate, your CPCs, which is your cost per click, the most important metric there when you're testing. When you're testing your ads, you're trying to aim for a cost per click of around $1 or less. Anything higher than that is going to be very expensive to run your ads unless your AOV is like above $80 or something very high. So AOV stands for your average order value, and let's just say you have like 50 products on your store, just take the average price of all your products. Now your add to carts is very important and you want to leave these unticked. All of these boxes here, you want to leave these unticked. So to just search for that, it's add to cart and it's the total. You do not want the value or the cost, they're irrelevant. So checkouts initiated, same thing. Purchases, same thing. So if you just look at purchase, we can see here purchases total here, and the other two boxes comes down later. Then we need cost per result, your budget, amount spent, your results, purchase ROAS, which is the return on ad spend, and then purchase conversion value so that you can see how much people spend. So if they spent like $60 on your store, then it should show as $60 on Facebook ads. Your quality ranking, which is how Facebook ranks your ads. Frequency is how many times someone's seen your ad. So when you're running top to funnel campaigns or you're testing or scaling even, it should really be 1 to 1.5. It shouldn't be anything higher. 3-second video plays. So whenever you're running video ads, you do need these metrics here. So what I like to do is just search video, and you can just click 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then you click save. Once you hit save, you'll have all these columns here. Now, when you're testing ads, you're not really aiming for sales. You're just trying to find that winning formula. Because how do you know what a good ad creative is or ad copy, etc.? So you need to test that out first. So when you're testing at the beginning, you're not aiming for purchases. You're aiming for low cost per click, high CTRs, and low CPMs. Now, depending on your industry, your CPM varies. So let's just say you're in the beauty niche. One of my subscribers is in the beauty niche. His CPMs right now is around $150 to $200, which is insane. Look at my CPMs here. £3, guys. Average £3.91. And bear in mind, this is optimizing for purchases. So very cheap. And most of my ads are static ads, and I do run a bit of video ads. So your CPMs, majority of the time, it depends on which industry you're in. Of course, if you have a really, really bad ad, then your CPMs will be higher as well. So yeah, in the beauty niche, very high CPMs. I wouldn't even recommend anyone go down a beauty niche unless you're selling like $100 product or even more. Your CTRs, you kind of want to aim for 2.5% or higher. Like this one here, you see my CTR is very low here, 1.6%, or even this 1.17%. But the benefit is my CPM is so cheap here. So it kind of all balances out. So you can see here 14p cost per click, 19p cost per click. So not too much higher, but to be fair, just because it's 5p higher, in the grand scheme of things, that is quite a bit more. That's like what, 30% more. So yeah, even though it seems cheap, it's actually more expensive, way more expensive. So yeah, that's something to look out for. Now your CPC, you want to aim for anything like below $1. It really depends on your average order value as well as your conversion rate. I'll show you my Shopify analytics later, but you can see my CVR, which is conversion rate, is very low. But that's because my CPC is low. So if your CPC is high, like $2, you should expect your CVR, your conversion rate, to be higher. Mine hovers around 1%. So every 100 visitors, one sale. And for you guys, if you have a cost per click of like $2, then you want like a 4% conversion rate. Add to carts, checkouts, and purchases. Remember, guys, my ad account only tracks 40% of my sales. So it's absolutely horrendous. It's very hard for me to see what is working, how to scale and optimize is very, very difficult. Whereas for you guys, it should really be tracking like 80% of your sales. Now, when you start making sales, ideally you will be looking at the cost per result column and your ROAS column as well. Now, let's just say you run your ads tonight for 12 a.m. What you're going to do is give it 2 days. After 2 days have gone by, so 48 hours, you're going to look at your cost per click column. If it's above $1, usually I switch it off, especially if there's no add to carts, checkouts, or purchases, because it's simply too expensive. And that's why I offer my coaching calls, because each funnel, ad account, product, offering is all different. I literally can't make videos for every single scenario because there's too many. Like someone could be in a beauty industry, but they have like wild CPCs, but their AOV is higher. So I give them different advice to someone who's maybe selling jewelry products where their CPMs are like $15 and their CPC is lower. So that's why if you're struggling with Facebook ads, it's actually worth booking a call with me, because it's very hard for me to create a video to help you optimize your metrics when everyone's metrics and funnels different. So my advice in this video is very generic. So like when I say aim for $1 cost per click, well, for me, if I aim for $1 cost per click, then I'll be losing money. For me, I'd be aiming for a 20 cents cost per click. And it all depends on your conversion rates, AOV, etc. So yeah, after 48 hours of running your ads, ideally you want your cost per click below $1. And also by the third day, you should be getting add to carts and checkouts. And if you don't, then there's something wrong with your landing page. If your cost per click is higher than $1, there's something wrong with your ads. Cost per result, very important, is not all about ROAS. The reason being is because your purchase conversion value could be wrong. So if Facebook is tracking 96K for this purchase conversion value for 2,800 sales, but this is incorrect. Let's just say my average order value is around £50, right? So 2830 times 50, it should really be £141,500 instead of 96K. And so then if I divide that by the spend, so my actual ROAS is actually 2.729 instead of 1.86. And this is why it's very important to look at multiple metrics and not just rely on one. And you're only really looking at these metrics when you're scaling up, guys, and when you're getting sales. When you're not getting sales, all you're looking at is your CPCs, your add to carts, your checkouts, and trying to optimize that part of the funnel. Now, if you're running video ads, this here is very important. These metrics here, these video ad metrics. So we got 3-second video plays, your video plays at 25%, etc. And you can see here, video plays is 4,900, which is peanuts. That's why I don't really run video ads. You can tell, look, 4,900 video plays out of 14 million impressions here. So honestly, not that much. Now, when you're optimizing your videos, you're focusing on this average playtime because that's what's most important. If your average playtime is like mine, where it's like 3 seconds long, that means people are only watching for 3 seconds and they're clicking away. Or they're either clicking onto your website or they're swiping away. On average, you want to aim for 7 seconds or more average playtime, because if it's only like 3 seconds or 2 seconds, what's happening is your hook is just not strong enough. So in my case, my hook isn't strong enough because people are watching only 2 seconds and they're swiping. That means the first 2 seconds isn't capturing my audience's engagement. So I do need to improve those video ads there. That's how you optimize your video ads. So if your average play time is below 7 seconds, your CPC is above $1, well, you kind of know that your video ads suck and they need improving. Now, let's head over to my Shopify analytics. So this is another part of the funnel that you need to analyze when you're running ads. It's not just about you're running ads. Let's just say you're running ads and your cost per click is 50 cents, super cheap, and you're optimizing for purchases, but on your analytics side, you're not getting any add to carts, then that's the issue. If you're not getting add to carts, you're not going to get checkouts and you're not going to get purchases. Simple as that. So if your CPC is low, that means your ads are decent, but there's something wrong with your website, especially if you're not getting add to carts. And so you can see here my add to cart rate is 2.81%, and this doesn't track everything, so just like kind of take it with a grain of salt. Like you can see here, completed purchases only 35,900, whereas my orders over time is 89,000. So that's like already less than half. What's that, like 35,919 divided by 89365. So it's only tracking 40% of my sales. I'm honestly, I don't even know what's going on. Everything seemed to be only tracking 40%. So like that means this here would be double. So my add to cart rate ideally is, or theoretically is 5% instead of this 2.81%. And your add to cart rate, you want to aim for 4% or higher. Now again, this depends on your other metrics. If your cost per click is high, like $1.50, then your add to cart rate needs to be way higher. So you can see here, my cost per click is only 14 cents, on average 18p. That means my add to cart rate can be so low, it doesn't matter because I'll still be profitable. If your cost per click is $1.50 and your add to cart rate is only 5%, it's quite low and you need to bump that up. Again, this all depends on your average order value. If your average order value is like $200 and you're making $150 profit on each order, then it doesn't matter if your CVR is only like 1%, because for every one person who buys from your store out of 100 visitors, you're making $150. But we'll go through that in this here as well. So you can see here, add to cart rate is 2.81%, checkout is 2%, and it's usually half of the add to cart rate. So this here would be, let's just say 6%, because this is just not tracking correctly. This will be like 3%, and this will be like 1.5%. And throughout the funnel, it'll cut in half by 50%. Average order value, £48. Now, for you guys, I always suggest a £50 average order value. So you can see mine is like hovering just at £50. Ideally, you want to sell more expensive products, because the higher this average order value, the more flexibility you have when you're scaling ads. So let's just say my average order value is £50. My markup's like 2 or 2.5. I'm not too sure what average is. And let's just say I'm making £30 profit. That means I have £30 to spend on ads to break even, right? And now let's go over to here. You can see my cost per result is around £18, £21, £19. And my break even is £30 per result, right? So when I scale, I have what? £30 take away £18, which is £12 left to scale. A lot of you guys may have like a break even cost per result of £20, and your cost per result is already over that. So you're making a loss, and if you scale any further up, your cost per result will actually go up. It doesn't go down, it actually goes up because you're spending more and it's harder for Facebook to find the right audience. So this one here is like £18, but over time it may creep up to 19 to 20 to 21, etc. Like this here at the beginning could have been £15, but over time it went up to £18.32. So you do have to keep that in mind. And that's why average order value and the amount of profit you make per sale is very, very important. The higher, the better, guys. So how do you work out your break-even ROAS? So let's just say your average order value is £50 here, right? And your cost of goods on AliExpress is £18 and your shipping costs £2. Now let's just say you're shipping to the US, UK, Canada, Australia, etc. You just want to take the average number and then plug them into this formula here. So what you're doing here is your average order value divided by this group here. So it'll be $50, take away $18, take away $2, which is what, $30? So it'll be 50 divided by 30, which gives us a break-even ROAS of 1.66. So 1.66, therefore if ROAS is higher than 1.66, I'm making a profit. Now in your case, most of the time I see people selling stuff for like $30 and maybe they're buying it for like 14, their shipping is 2. So let's just say it's 30, 14, 2, what's that? So it'll be 30 divided by 30, take away 16, which is 14. So your break-even ROAS is 2.14, terrible. So that means your ads need to be higher than 2.14 ROAS for you to make a profit. That is horrendous. Ideally, you want this to be $70, and this will be $70, $20, take away 2, so it'll be 70 divided by, what is it, 70 take away 20, take away 2, like 48, is that? Yeah, 48. So that means your break-even ROAS is 1.45. So therefore, if your ROAS is higher than 1.45, you make a profit. And that is if your average order value is $70, and that is if your cost per click, cost of goods is $20. So that's how you work out your break-even ROAS. Is a very important metric when you're testing and scaling or running ads even. So down here, we also have another calculator. Now let's just say your cost per click is $1. That means your cost is $100 for 100 visitors. Now let's just say your cost per click is £1.50. That means you're paying $150 for 100 visitors. So this cost here is for 100 visitors to your website. Now let's just say your average order value is $50 and you profit per order $30. Now to work out our conversion rate to cover this cost, we need to do the cost divided by our profit, so it's 5. So we need 5 sales for every 100 visitors to break. This is just to break even, guys, not even to profit. So if your purchase rate is 5%, that is very high. It's almost impossible and unheard of. And that's why this is terrible metrics. You don't want this. Well, ideally, what you want is something like this. Let me bring another example here. So let's just say my one's 0.5, right, or 0.3. That means the cost for 100 visitors is $30. My average order value is $60 or 70, and my profit is 30. Let's see, cost divided by profit is 1% conversion rate. So as long as I have a conversion rate of 1%, so every 1% of 100 visitors buys my product, then I'm profitable, or breaking even actually. I kind of need an extra sale for every like 100 visitors. And so yeah, so you could just plug these numbers into your own like calculator or whatever. Let's just say your CPC is like $2. That means your cost for 100 visitors is 200, right? And let's just say your average order value is 70, your profit is 40. That would mean 200 divided by 40 is 5. So you need a 5% conversion rate. And to get a 5% conversion rate, that means your checkout rate will have to be 10%, right? and then your add to cart rate would have to be 20%. Remember, it gets cut in half every part of the funnel. So add to cart, to checkout, to purchase. Now I have videos on like how to boost your conversion rates, how to optimize your ads and stuff like that. But ideally, you do want to just book a call in with me. If you're just wasting money on ads, you don't know what you're doing, because my videos can only do so much before you actually need to speak to me personally, and then I could go through your entire funnel, your metrics, and tell you where exactly you're going wrong. The next phase is scaling. Now you only move on to this phase if you have a winning ad and product. A winning ad must have at least 5 sales, guys, before you start scaling up. And a ROAS has to be above your break-even ROAS. Now, if you don't know how to work out your break-even ROAS, it's very, very simple. Let's just say your average order value is $50, right? You have $50 divided by $50, take away your COGS. So let's just say your cost of goods is $20, right? So it'll be 50, take away 20, which is 30. So it'll be 50 divided by 30, which is whatever that is, like 1.66. So that's your break-even ROAS. And so on your ad account, you kind of want a ROAS of like 1.8 or 2 or anything above 1.6 or anything above your break-even ROAS. There are also 3 ways to scale up your ads. So horizontally, vertically, and also your creatives. So horizontal scaling. You're just duplicating your ads into a new scaling CBO campaign. You'll be duplicating your winning ads into a new scaling campaign, and that'll just be your scaling CBO campaign. That's literally your home for scaling ads. You could also duplicate ads into new ad sets within your existing campaign and test new interests. For example, if you're running an ABO campaign, you could just dupe the ad set, delete the other ads, and just keep the winning ad there, and then you can run that. Or you dupe it again, test new interests, then you can run that. Dupe it again, you have the winning ad, dupe that winning ad by 2 times so you have 3 of the same one, and just change the ad copy. Again, you're testing more. Because when you're first starting out, you've only run a few tests. How do you know that's the best one, like the top ad? You just won't know unless you test. That's why it's always about testing. Vertically scaling, just increase your budgets by 20 to 50% every few days. Now, I know some people double their budgets. Sure, you could do that. But don't cry to me when you don't get sales for the next 2 days and you're wondering what the hell you should do. Because you might have broken the algorithm, they don't really like it when you double spend. Or maybe they do like it, but you need to wait 5 days for it to optimize. Can you afford 5 days worth of $100 spend a day without making any money? That's the most important question when you're scaling. It's all about, can you afford it? Also, creative scaling. This involves you creating more creatives similar to that of your winning ad. Let's just say you've made a winning video of a UGC content creator. What you're going to do is change the ad copy, change the hook, change the creator, change the script slightly, maybe add some B-roll shots, maybe change the captions, etc. You want to keep testing things out. Now, moving on to phase 3, retargeting. A super important phase that people don't really care about. Now, it's super important to retarget your customers. When have you ever just seen one ad and that's it from a company? Most of the time, they'll send you one ad. You go on your day and later, you see another ad from the same company. That's a retargeting ad. Maybe 2 days time, you see another ad. That's retargeting ad too. Maybe 5 days time, you see another ad. That's another retargeting ad. Those aren't top of funnel ads. Those are retargeting ads. So only move to this phase if you have over 100 sales. And create custom audiences for each part of the funnel. Facebook for the past 365 days, Instagram for the past 365 days, website for the past 180 days, and video views for the past 180 days. You also want to create a new CBO campaign for your retargeting ads at 30% of your overall budget. So let's just say you're spending $100 now on your top of the funnel ads. That means you'll spend $30 on this new bottom of the funnel retargeting ad. Your retargeting ads should focus on creating urgency, building trust with reviews and testimonials, and offering new discounts. Your campaign structure will look something like this. 1 CBO campaign, 4 ad sets, 1 for each part of the funnel. Set a minimum spend per ad set at 10% your campaign budget. So let's just say your campaign budget was $30. That means these 4 ad sets will have a minimum spend of $3 each, which is 10%, right? And each ad set will have 5 to 15 ads per ad set. You want to mix up your ads with videos, UGC videos, reviews, static ads, carousel ads. Maybe it's a UGC image, maybe it's an image with reviews, you name it, just test them all out. And all your ads can be different in this campaign. So for the ads in the Facebook ad set, it may be different from the ads in the add to cart ad set. The different parts of the funnel, right? So of course the messaging will be slightly different. So how fast should you scale? It all depends on your CPA, your profit margins, your cash flow, and your capital. Most importantly is your cash flow and capital. Now, if you're financially illiterate, then you probably won't even know how to track your cash flow and your capital, but it's very important you do. Now, ask ChatGPT how you can do that. If you don't know how, literally ask ChatGPT and it can probably do it for you. Or you could just download my finance template and you could keep track of your profit and loss. Also, your CPA is very important. Cost per acquisition or cost per result, basically the same. Let's just say you're selling a $50 product. You're buying it for $20. That means your break-even cost per acquisition is $30, right? 50 take away 20. Now, let's just say you're running ads and your CPA on ads right now is $25 per sale. So for every sale, you're spending $25 on ads. Now, if your break even is 30 and you're spending 25, that means you only have $5 left to scale. And when you scale, your CPR or CPA tends to go up. It doesn't actually go down because Facebook is going to find it more difficult to find your viewers or your audience. And that's why you need a bigger CPA. So at the beginning, I suggest scaling slowly because you're just starting out. Your ad account has limits on spend. You really don't want to be spending like $100 a day at the beginning when you don't have much in the bank and you're just like kind of learning the platform. If your profit margins are thin, then you need to focus on increasing your average order value or increasing your conversion rate or decreasing your cost per click. Avoid creating too many campaigns, and Facebook now prefers if you put all your ads into existing ad sets. They don't care how your structure is, just shove all your ads into those ad sets and keep it small and compact. So last but not least is your finances. Make sure to inject $1,000 into the business by transferring $1,000 into a personal bank account that you don't use. You want to keep your transactions separate to your personal transactions. So anything you spend on dropshipping, Shopify plan, app plans, sampling, UGC creators, I don't know what it is, any expenses to do with business goes into this bank account and that's where it will take the money from. Now, let's just say you start making sales. It will go into this bank account. Even though it's a personal account, it's for your business. Now, this also depends on your country, right? So if your country requires you to set up a company, then unfortunately you're going to have to. So you'll create a company bank account. For me, I'm in the UK and I didn't need to do that. What I did, I actually put my expenses on my personal card, but it was one that I used for my personal transactions. So when I transitioned into self-employment and my LTT company, my accountant was just stressed because he had to sort through my personal transactions with my business, and then I have to provide all the receipts and expenses, etc. So that's why it makes life easier for everyone if you just split it up. You want to track all your expenses on Google Sheets, all your ingoings, your outgoings, your costs, everything. Save your receipts in a folder. Like let's just say you worked at a cafe on your dropshipping business and you ordered a coffee. Well, you save that receipt in a folder, take a picture of it, upload it to your folder. And also make sure to keep track of your cash flow and your profit and loss using Google Sheets every single day. Every single day, my Google Sheets opens when I open my Google Chrome tab. Shopify opens up automatically, DS's, my email, my Excel sheet, and YouTube because of my YouTube channel. You do not want to lose track of your profit and losses, otherwise it becomes a nightmare and you don't even know whether you're in a profit or whether you're in a loss. If you don't know whether you're in a profit or loss and you don't know how much buy, then you're not keeping track of your finances. I don't know what you're doing. Because if you're your own boss, you should really be tracking all of that. You should know exactly how much you made or lost since starting out. If you don't, that mess is just going to keep piling up, piling up. That mess is going to get so big, you don't even want to find out what your profit and loss is. That's why it's so important to make sure you're organized from the beginning. And if you want, you can find my finance template here at theecomzone.com/resources, and you can find my products there. The digital products is a Google sheet that you can have access to, and you can track your profit and loss on a daily basis. Only apply for a credit card once you are profitable, guys. I don't want you to apply for a credit card when you're still in a loss and you need money. That's just not the right way to do it. You actually need to become profitable before you apply for a credit card. My first business credit card was the Amex Gold card.
Platform fees, app fees, cost of sampling, product costs, advertising costs, marketing costs, payment processing fees, chargebacks, accountants and auditors, and finally, business setup costs. So of course, when you're dropshipping, you need a store to sell all your products. Now I know you can set up a TikTok shop or set up on Amazon, eBay, Etsy, you name it. But I personally recommend you guys set up a Shopify store so that you can create your own brand. You don't have to rely on other platforms to sell your goods. With Shopify, I partnered up with them and you can actually get it for £1 for the first 3 months. And after the first 3 months on Shopify, you're going to pay a flat fee of $19 per month with the basic plan. And that's if you pay yearly. So if you pay monthly, then it's $25. And so I recommend you guys just stick with the basic theme and pay monthly. Next, you're going to have to consider domain and hosting. So I know you could get your domain on Shopify and without hosting. However, I went with Namecheap. Alternatively, there is GoDaddy. And basically, you purchase your domain and hosting with them, and then you connect it to Shopify. The benefit with this is that you actually own your domain, whereas if you buy it on Shopify, I believe Shopify still owns your domain. And so if you shut down your store, you don't keep your domain. Now, I'm not too sure if they changed that, but I remember that was the case a few years ago. And so the setup with GoDaddy or Namecheap is actually quite complex. So if you want the easy route, then just create your domain on Shopify and you don't need to worry about hosting and connecting GoDaddy to Shopify. So domains are usually around $10 to $50 per year. The next cost we need to consider is your website theme. Now I know there's a big theme going around, which is the Shrine theme. I know you guys probably heard of this, and to be honest, I never actually heard of this until recently, and it just keeps popping up. And there's a lot of people out there who are underselling the Shrine theme and selling you a fake copy. And I do not recommend you guys use that, because once Shopify picks that up, they will send you an email and they'll ask you to pay for the actual theme. What I recommend is sticking to the Dawn theme, which is free. And I also have a 2-hour free course on my YouTube channel that goes through how I built and launched my Shopify store using the Dawn theme. So that's $0. Next, we need to consider the app fees. So a lot of people ask, what apps do you recommend? So there's actually a few apps that I recommend from the get-go. DS's is the first one, so you can actually fulfill your orders and it will automate the fulfilling process. Judge.me is an app you need to import reviews from AliExpress and also collect reviews. And then Klaviyo is to send automated email flows. Yotpo SMS is an app to send automated SMS flows. Now I know Klaviyo offers this, and I also know Yotpo offers the emails. However, I keep them separate just because Klaviyo is very expensive. Next app is Aftership, which is a crucial app that you need to send your customers your tracking details and tracking updates. Now I know DSs allows you to send your initial email which says, oh, your parcel has been shipped out. However, they don't send follow-up emails, and that's why you need either Aftership or Tracking 123. And the next app is Aftersale, which isn't a must-have app at the beginning. However, I would look into installing it once you get a few sales going. And it's basically an app that promotes post-purchase sales, so your customers are more likely to purchase again. This increases your customer lifetime value as well as your average order value. And the last app I would recommend is Booster SEO and Image Optimizer. And so we're going to go through each of these app costs. So DSs is completely free forever. And even if you use my affiliate link, I don't get paid if you're on a free plan. So people who say, oh, you're affiliate with DSs, that's why you're promoting it. But honestly, I've been using it for 3 years and it's one of the best apps out there for fulfilling orders. I know there's AutoDS, but I would not recommend them. I do have a video that goes through why I don't recommend them, as well as CJ Dropshipping. So DSs, free forever, literally free. However, I am on the advanced plan, so the $19.9 per month plan. And this is so that we can send the tracking information to our customers, and also you're able to add your admitted cashback link into DSs, so that for every purchase on AliExpress, you get cashback back if your suppliers are signed up to admitted. So very beneficial, a lot of money from cashback. The next app is Judge Me, and I actually used to use Looks before, but it got so expensive and I was fed up. I was like, no way are they charging me more just because I'm getting more orders. And so I looked around, and Judge Me is an app that I've been using for like 2 years now. Support's good, app's good, and it just does its job, and it's free forever, so can't complain. Next is Klaviyo, which is actually more on the expensive side of things, and it's ridiculous how much they actually charge. However, they do have a free plan, so it's $0 per month if you have 0 to 250 active profiles. And if you increase this to, let's say, 10,000, you start paying a lot. The next app is Yotpo, which is what I use to send SMS out, and they just charge per SMS you send out, and you basically just top up the account. So I top up every $20, and again, I do have a video going through the setup of Yotpo and how I generated over I think it was 1,000 ROAS or something ridiculous, or maybe 100 ROAS. The next app is Aftership, which is actually more on a slightly expensive side, and there is other apps out there that does the same job, but I've been using Aftership for 4 years now. So they got the Essentials plan, which is $9 per month. This is billed annually, but I suggest you get billed monthly, and so Essentials plan is $11 per month. The only problem with this is you can see it says 100 shipments per month. Let's just say you get 150 shipments, you actually need to pay for the extra 50 shipments, and that's where it gets really expensive and the cost starts adding up. And the next one is Aftersale. So Aftersale, $34.99 per month for 500 orders per month. And I hate apps that charge you more based on your orders. So with this app, if you get 2,000 orders per month, they'll charge you $100 a month. And then Booster SEO Image Optimizer is completely free, and basically just has basic SEO features, and you can optimize your images. And so that's all your app fees that you need to take into account. Next is your cost of sampling, because a lot of you guys just run stores without sampling your products. But honestly, when you're starting off, you want to sample your products, because you don't want to scale a product and you get really happy that you're making $1,000 a day, and then a week later, when your customers start receiving their products, they start complaining, they ask for refunds, they ask for returns, they open chargebacks. You really don't want to deal with that headache. And so I sample my products when I first started. Of course, now I've built a really good relationship with my suppliers, so I don't really need to sample too often. Unless I'm launching a new product range in my store with completely new suppliers, that's when I'll test out products. I recommend you test 1 to 3 products from each of your suppliers that you find. Now, you can find as many suppliers as you want, but you should really test the products. And hopefully, if you test 1 to 3 and the all pretty good quality. You can assume the other products they sell are of good quality, and so you can upload them to your store. Of course, that's not always the case. However, AliExpress is on your side when things go wrong. So you want to sample products that you think has the potential to be a winner. And then if you want to start a clothing brand, you may need to spend more money on sampling to find the right canvas, to find good quality clothes, and to make sure the clothes that you're selling matches up with your product images. You also want to test out shipping times, product quality, processing times, which is how long your suppliers takes to ship out an order, and your communication with suppliers when things go south. So sampling costs can be anywhere between $20 to $500 or even more. And so on AliExpress, let's just say you're testing out hoodies. These are custom hoodies where you can put your own design on these. Let's just say we want to test this one out, right? This is already £21, just one supplier. Now, what I would do is test out their different sizes. So I'll order XL, order large, order different colors, white, black, cream. You see, so the sampling cost does add up over time. And you don't want to just test out one supplier because you don't know if they're good. You need to order from another supplier and see if their hoodie's good. And so you got maybe 3 different suppliers sending you products. You test them out, see which one you want to work with and commit to. And that's all part of the business. And this is what I'm saying, like, when people tell you, oh, you can start with $0, just don't run ads. Yes, but there's all these other costs involved. And so you do need money to run a business. And if you read enough books, you really shouldn't be starting a business without money. Because without money, you'll struggle. I'm telling you now, especially with the economy this shaky, it makes it more difficult to succeed with dropshipping. So next is product costs. So cost of goods when you make a sale. So of course, you only need to take this into account when you make a sale. If you don't make a sale, there's no cost of goods. So cost is usually around 25 to 40% of your sale price, depending on what you're selling and the perceived value and your markups. So let's just say you bought jewelry for £10, but you're selling it for £50. That means your cost of goods is only around 20%. However, if you bought something for £10 on AliExpress and you're only selling it for £20, then your cost of good would actually be 50% of your sale price, which is actually quite high. And you need to consider that when you make a sale, you won't receive a payout until later. So Shopify payments will pay you out after a week, and PayPal is immediate. However, once you meet like a certain threshold, they start holding on to your funds, and they basically investigate you if you're actually genuine and you're not a scammer. And that's when you start seeing funds being held for much longer periods. PayPal can be up to 6 weeks and if not longer. So imagine all those sales that you're making and PayPal is holding on to your money. How are you going to fulfill orders? How are you going to pay for your ads? So these are things you need to consider. And that's why I always suggest people, when they start a dropshipping business, to have at least $1,000 injected capital and also a regular income stream from another side hustle, job, you name it, so that just in case there's payment holds, you can fund money into your business. And just make sure to take into account shipping costs when marking up your products. So next is advertising costs. You'll spend most of your money running paid ads. And for me, I suggest that you spend $25 a day when you first start just to get the ball rolling. And that's about $750 per month. Of course, it's not going to be $25 a day constantly if you need to switch off ads and then edit your website or optimize your funnel or whatnot. So the amount you spend per day also depends on your capital injection and your cash flow. If you're only starting with $500, then you can't really start with $25 a day, right? So when I launched my dropshipping business 4 years ago, I broke even and started profiting after spending £400 on ads. But this was in 2020 when ads were so much better, there was less competition, and some of you may never pass break even. And that's just the honest truth, guys. Not every one of you is going to succeed. However, with my channel, I hope that my content can get you to a point where you're profitable and you're making money from dropshipping. So we have a few more slides, and the next one is marketing costs. So marketing costs is slightly different, and this is more like paying influencers, sourcing content, paying for UGC content creators, etc. So a cost that you need to consider is paying micro influencers on TikTok or Instagram. And usually what I do is just send them a product and then they're happy with it and they send some pictures back or videos and they upload it to their socials as well. You could also ask them to do a giveaway with you so that you could get their fans to follow your account. As for promotional emails that I send to my subscription list, I use Brevo, but there's also MailChimp out there, and Brevo is from $9 per month. So the pricing plan here is $0 per month for free. However, ideal for growing businesses is $9, and then the business one is here. And this is only from 5,000 emails per month. And so my contact list is around 90,000. So I actually have to send way more emails per month. And we send about 4 emails a month. So you can see the cost does add up. You also need to send automated emails with Klaviyo, but we've already spoke about that. Automated SMS with Yotpo, which we've spoke about again. And then sourcing UGC content. What I use is Fiverr, and you can also use Upwork. And the price ranges from $50 to $200. So you simply search on Fiverr, UGC content creators, and you just check out their reviews, see if you like the structure of their videos, how they film, the lighting, all that stuff. And then you also need to pay for video editors if you're not a great video editor, and that's around $20 to $100 per video. And these video editors, you can find them on Fiverr or Upwork again. So the next cost that people don't really talk about is payment processing fees. And this is a fee that you just can't get away from. It's like paying taxes. You just have to pay taxes. So payment processing fees are charged on every order. Shopify payment fees is around 2.4% plus 30 cents for each order. And so let's just say someone paid you £100 for an order, you're not going to get the full £100. You're going to get charged a 2.4% fee plus 30 cents. And this cost adds up over time, especially when PayPal charges 3.49% plus 49 cents. And then there's also a currency conversion fee. So let's just say a US customer places an order in USD, but for me, I collect in GBP. And so it converts it for me from US dollars to British pounds, and they charge a fee for that. And there's also FX impact, because Shopify wants to cut from the currency conversion, right? And so they make money that way too. And PayPal is the worst because they charge a lot more and the FX conversion rate isn't actually the best. Sadly, there's no way around this. I've looked at many different ways and PayPal just doesn't let you withdraw in different currencies. For example, if you was to collect in US dollars, euros, Australian dollars, you name it, and you want to withdraw it, they just won't let you. You have to withdraw it in pounds. And so that's the big problem here. The next cost is chargebacks. Now when a customer opens a chargeback, you may incur fees depending on the outcome of the chargeback. So Shopify or PayPal will hold the order value from your payouts while under investigation. And usually investigations take 1 to 2 months and sometimes 3 months. So for every chargeback you lose, you pay a fee of around $15. So let's just say you sell an item for $30 and someone opened a chargeback. You're going to be charged a $15 fee when you lose that chargeback, which is very high. That's half your product sale price. And when you lose that chargeback, you also need to consider the ad cost that you paid to get that order and also the product cost that you paid to ship that order out to your customer. All in all, you actually lose quite a lot of money. A transaction is only complete when your customers receives your product and is happy with it. If your customer receives your product and they're not happy, good luck, because you're going to get so many emails and so many bad reviews. It's going to affect you mentally, and 2, you're just going to hate your store, you're going to hate your customers, and 3, you're just going to get all these chargebacks, refunds, returns, and everything like that. The next cost you need to look at is accountant and auditors, which is something that's overlooked in the dropshipping space. People think like, oh, just start a store, run ads, make sales, yeah, happy. But you don't really consider the cost of a bookkeeper.
Now, you don't know what a bookkeeper is, then you need to look it up, right? Just ask ChatGPT, what's a bookkeeper and why do I need it for dropshipping? And then next is accountant. And these fees varies, right, depending on your country, how qualified they are, and how organized they are. Let's just say you hire a very cheap bookkeeper and he does a sloppy job. It's just going to have a knock-on effect, because when you submit your financial reports or you run your reports and stuff like that, your accountant and auditors might not like it. And so there's a knock-on effect, and then there'll be costs incurred. So you'll also need an accounting firm who audits your books, which can be from anywhere like $2,000 plus per year. And if you're wondering why you need an auditor, well, they're a person that's authorized to review and verify the accuracy of your books and your financial records and ensures that you're tax compliant. So you want to find accountants in your country or state who understands e-commerce and the dropshipping model. And you just find it on Google. Literally just type in e-commerce accountants in, I don't know, Texas or whatever it is, whatever state or country you live in. And you can work with auditors without ever meeting them. So I've actually never met my auditors. However, I do work with my bookkeeper and accountant. And so this is the last slide now, and this is the business setup costs. So you may need to operate as a company from the start, depending on your country. And in the UK, you don't actually need to set up a company just because you're running like a side hustle, which is very beneficial to us. When I started, I set up as a self-employed / sole trader, and so there wasn't any cost for me when setting up. And there's many costs involved when setting up a company, and that's why it's quite a headache. And the cost of setting up a company varies depending on your location and where you want to set it up. There's a state filing fee, which is a one-time fee when registering your business online, which can range between $75 to $700 depending on where you're from. You can set up as an LLC in the US, which ranges from $50 to $500, or you can set up as a corporation, which is around $40 to $700. And in the UK, I set up as an LTD company, so that's a limited company. You also need to pay for virtual addresses, PO boxes, or you use your auditor's address and you just need to ask them for permission. There's also costs when winding down your business or company if it doesn't work out. And that's it, guys. Thank you for watching. I hope you found this video valuable. If you did, smash that like button. Do check out my other videos because they're still relevant to this day and age, except for those Facebook ads. But in terms of building your website, finding products, finding untapped products, finding suppliers, how to import products, etc., they're all still very relevant. Anyways, if you have any questions, let me know in the comment section below, and peace.